mortified. So I focus on being fortified. Twisted shit encrypted and codified. Products of a simulation. First generation sufferers of overstimulation. My stipulation got me looking for some ventilation. I changed the station, ignoring Satan's invitation. No visitation for my brothers off solicitations. Incarcerations, it's called the Matrix. If life's a bitch, then she's a dominatrix. So death got to be your masculine presence. Opening his arms while you bask in his essence. Sometimes when I talk to God, I call my passive aggressive. Will I open heaven's doors or just burn from my lessons? Blessings. You know the game been told. If I was you, then my soul would have been sold. Watch what you do, cause it's coming back tenfold. Either way it goes, man, I'm 10 toes, 10 toes, 10.
Yeah, man. I've been gone for a minute, but I'm back with the jump off. You know what I'm saying? So I already know what time it is. How's everybody? Peace to everybody that showed up. Yeah. Sometimes you just need to take a break, recalibrate, get your mind right. You know what I mean? This YouTube stuff, and it could be draining sometimes. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, nobody gonna look out for you like you. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta look out for yourself. You gotta take care of yourself, take care of your mental health, take care of your mind, all of that. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you know you're dealing with people and you're dealing with individuals that are not on your level, that are here to drain you. You know what I mean? Here to suck your energy. Sometimes you gotta recalibrate. And one thing about doing this content, when you come into it, you be thinking it's something that it's not. You know what I'm saying? And you make relationships, you meet people. Do you expect them to deal with people that really know you, like your real friends? And it's just not the same thing. And you just gotta just take a step back. You know what I mean? So I had to do that. We back. A lot has happened these last few weeks. The world is going through a lot of changes, you know, economically, politically. You know, so many things that are bigger than just our gripes with each other or our gripes with women, for that matter. You know, it's a bigger play at hand. And you see the topics, you know, certain things that I feel like, I don't know if they all correlate, but I feel like that there are topics that caught my eye. And it just makes you look at things a lot differently. You know, shout out to World Class in the building. Said we up, peace, bro, peace, peace. Ali the Great, peace, 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 peace. JVZ, what's good, what's good? Yeah, man. Appreciate y'all for pulling up. The real one's gonna show up, you know what I mean? The real one's gonna show love, you know what I mean? So I'm glad y'all here. But yeah, you know, I've seen a lot of things over these last few weeks, and I'm like, the first thing that caught my eye was, of course, Fresh and Fit situation. I seen that, and I thought it was interesting how quick Satan Sinner was able to just say things that, you know, basically kind of discredited their credibility as far as, you know, relationship advice. And it's one thing about this space I noticed that, and a lot of, not just this space, but just a lot of things in life where talent or ability is supposedly valued, it's really not. You know what I'm saying? And in some ways that's good, in some ways that's bad. In other words, that's bad. In other words, like if you're a talented person, but you don't put in the effort, you shouldn't get where the person who put the effort in gets. That's fair. But at the same time, when it's like in sports, if you keep putting in effort, but your performance is not good, you're not going to get, just because you show up every day don't matter if you're not putting up no points. And I feel like in these spaces, people go hard, but they ain't saying nothing. You know what I'm saying? They be going hard, but it's like a real motherfucker see through that shit and be like, they ain't really talking about nothing. There's nothing they really, you can learn from what they saying. It's really just riding a wave or riding a trend. And people get in where they fit in. They just keep saying the same shit over and over and over and over and over and over. And I always felt like that with these guys. You know what I'm saying? I thought Marquette said some interesting things. That was kind of comical, but I want to unpack it like we do. You know what I'm saying? In the meantime, please support the channel. We trying to grow over here. I'm doing things outside of content, so I got to bear with the last couple weeks. I just needed some time to myself, y'all. I just needed some time to, oh, wrong one. Refresh myself. You know what I'm saying? I need to refresh myself. And I got some sound bites. Let me know if y'all can hear these sounds. I'm about to play a few sounds and let me know if you can hear them. All right? Can you hear this? Hold on. Oh, why is it not playing? What in the world? Wow. Why is it doing that? Okay, can y'all hear this sound right here?
The hunt is on. And you're the prey.
Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear that sound. If you can hear these sounds, let me know.
Nigga, don't act like us.
Can y'all hear the sounds? Can y'all hear the sounds? Let me know.
Our black men, we want all y'all back.
Can y'all hear those sound bites? So they good. Y'all can hear them. Y'all can hear them.
Say another motherfucking word and this shit is over.
Y'all can hear those joints? Yes. Okay. Bet. So when I do those, I got to turn the volume up. I see than the average sound bite. So yeah, man. So yeah, support the black man. The more support the channel because y'all know what time it is. They out to get us, y'all.
The hunt is on. And you're the prey.
You are the prey, brother. You are the prey. You know what I'm saying? The hunt is on by your own brothers, by your own sisters, by the system, other people like the hunt is on. You know what I'm saying? So support the channel, show love. Oh, my table keeps rocking. Cut this off. So yeah, we're gonna get into it. We are gonna get into it. So yeah, when I seen these guys for the first time, I never thought. Like I know the difference. See, the thing with this space, when it comes to talking about relationships and talking about women, there's a difference between people's issues and why they're attracted to certain conversations. And when the more you hear a man talk in this space or in real life, you'll start to see what their gripe is. Major P, what's going on, brother? What is going on? You start to see. How you doing, bro? You start to understand why they have a gripe or why somebody might have a gripe with them. You know what I mean? And this space has become so inundated with acquirement to get the eyes of someone that they lose sight of social skills that will always matter, especially when dealing with women. Not saying it's going to change everything, but it's like a lubrication to a situation that has a lot of grinds and a lot of mechanisms. You know, dealing with the woman it's a highly fine-tuned mechanism. You got things that are turning, things that are spinning. It's a lot of aspects that make it work. So your social skills is the lubricant for this social mechanism. If that makes sense. I like to speak in a certain way, y'all. So you gotta, you know what I mean? Never mind how I talk. Like, that's just how I talk. Like, it's not gonna just be A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You know, I'm trying to paint a picture. So you need a lubricant for these situations. And that's your charm. That's your intellectual ability. That's your wit. That's your ability to be candid. Ability to push the line when you need to, but then retract. You know, these are all lubricants to talking to women. And a lot of men are dry. They don't have the lubricant to get the basic response from the mechanism that is dealing with a woman. And I felt like these guys, I just felt like they were those type of guys. So I just thought it was funny that Saint and Sinner finally, I guess they had a fallout. And he kind of let some things go that I didn't know about these guys. And let's respond. Let's react to it. You know what I mean? Let's see. Because if they whack now, it was whacked then. You know what I'm saying? But you know, it's all about numbers. So let's see. See. All right. This is the video that I saw. I think it's this is a short, and he did a little short video. So let's get into it. Support the channel, y'all. Like, share, and subscribe. Y'all already know the vibes. Y'all already know how we do. Let's get it.
I'll start. What was the thing that brought us into knowing one another, given that we are so very different? We look different. We dress differently. We're different ethnicities. We have different histories. Our advice is different. Notice I really enjoy history. I'm going to show you the first contact point that I ever had.
Shameless plug. You notice how the intellectuals are always talking about history. You know, I just wanted to point that out. You know, once again, it's another example of someone referring to their love of history because they understand the value in it. But that's neither here nor there. I just want to point that out.
Amru Fuddle, the guy who goes by a fake name that you know as Myron Gaines. And, you know, the first time I ever encountered him, I didn't remember. And I remember being on a live session and some dweeb came in the live chat, nerd. And in the live chat, he says, "You're trying to be Myron Gaines." I thought that was laughable. Who would want to be Myron Gaines? I mean, that's utterly bizarre. He's swagless and classless, always wearing a t-shirt. Who would want to be Myron Gaines? Nonsense. And then someone else in the live chat wrote, "Marquette wants to be Myron Gaines? Madness. Check out this link." And then you hit the link and it shows years ago, like 2020. I would let people come on, fans, you might call them.
And that's how you could tell. That's another thing. Like, these people in these chats, man, the shit they be saying, bro. Like, I've been compared to certain people they felt like I was jealous of and I want to be them. It's like, yo, you could just tell by the type of cats that sometimes be in these chats. They ain't outside. They have no idea. They really be caught up in, like, they think people be jealous of cats that because they got subscribe accounts. So or like, this virtual world is a place where you can create whatever you want. You can be whatever you want to be. But it's not reality, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter what you have, certain people, when they come into the room in real life, command the room. And immediately, your subscribers, your money, none of that shit matters. At best, you might have on some fly shit that'll get people's attention to you, but then you have a window. Now they're looking at you. Oh, he got the chain, now you have a window of their attention. What you say in that window, what you do in that window could lose it. Some people, when they open their mouth, they got the whole, they got fuck a window, they got a sunroof, they got a stadium opens when they open their mouth. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. So this online litness has a shelf life when it comes outside in them streets. When I say the streets, I don't mean nothing gangster. You know how people like to say, you're talking about literally just outdoors and dealing with people in real time. A lot of these cats don't have that ability. So people who do have that ability will never be jealous of someone who don't have that ability. So yeah, I just wanted to add that in because a lot of these guys, these defenders of these content creators, y'all really think motherfuckers be jealous of these cats or want to beat them? Like, why would they want to beat them, bro? Like, I don't understand your logic. So when Marquette said that, I fucking concur, man.
And sometimes it would take hours. And so 2 hours in, a fan comes on and don't you know it was Myron Gaines? Now, I didn't remember that because I let thousands of fans come on. So this is me 2 hours into a live session, letting fans come on to, greet and give thanks and say whatever's on their mind. And I also want you guys to notice the nature, so humble, so much humility Just a whole different guy.
I'm a content creator myself, bro. Just want to come in and show some love and support, man. I know you're friends with my boy Lucario, so I have to come in and off. So, you know, I just got to come in and show support, bro. That's really what it is, man. So it's cool that you're doing this. They'll bring the people on and talk with them and everything like that. So,
well, do forgive me for getting to you so late. I didn't want to cut anyone off.
No, bro. No, the other people waited their time, bro. I don't take offense at all to that, man. Don't even worry
Absolutely. What kind of?
He brought the receipts. You know what I'm saying? That's something about this space that, you know, some people respect, some people don't. You know what I mean? Like, depends on who brings them and when they bring them. Because you can bring receipts and motherfuckers still don't care. Let's keep
content you create.
I do. I have a fitness channel, and I also teach guys about, like, that's why I found your stuff, because I was like, you know, I have very similar views on dealing with chicks, bro. I'm here in Miami, so
he has very similar views on dealing with chicks. Well, Mark,
and that's another thing, yo. I never even heard of none of these people, man, before I got into this space. Like, the fact that if you got to call up to chop it up, like, or this the first time you even heard this type of information, that's a red flag right there. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these cats really learn from these dudes, like, how to do everything when it comes to life and when it comes to women. And you could tell by their eagerness to talk to certain cats. It's like, bro, ain't nothing wrong with collabing. Because at this point, it's like, I'd rather collab with somebody. It's like talking to them or getting advice. They might point me in a little direction here and there, but for the most part, it's like we do content so we can collab like that. I don't need these dudes' advice about no females, man. And a lot of these dudes really don't know women until these content creators started opening their mouth. And that's the part that threw me off. I didn't know that many men didn't know the game.
Why does he have very similar views to you, Marquette? That's because he learned from me. I was his teacher. That's why he has very similar views. In fact, if you listen closely, you can hear my words coming out of his mouth. Yet he never quotes me. It's very strange. In fact, there have been many times on Twitter that people would forward a tweet to me, and he would quote me verbatim.
I think there's some truth to that. When you look at how fresh, how homie move, I could see him trying to. If I could see him trying to mimic anybody, I think it's definitely Saint Sinner. I really do think he was mimicking his style, his approach. You got the low cut. Like, it's just amazing how these guys from other countries, man, they come over here and they try to take your swag, take your drip, take your whole approach, talk about your people, then try to shit on you while learning from you. And this ain't no knock on people from OC, because I feel like Africa and America need to, and me and Saint Sinner agree on this. He didn't agree, but I think we need to find a way to work together. You know what I mean? Because we both are victims of this, of the same transatlantic slave trade to a degree. Like, I don't know why our people think that they didn't go through that as well. Like, they did. We are victims of the same colonization. Wait, am I saying that word right? Colonization, colonialism, and colonization. We are both victims of the same minds and think tanks and actual people that did that. So I think we need to move towards some type of unification. But these relationships with these foreigners who come and exploit the culture and just try to make money off it leaves a bad taste in a lot of our mouths. You know what I'm saying? And more so in the content space than I would say in actual reality. Even though I'm sure it happens, but most of the foreigners I've met, we didn't have this maybe their uncles or their aunts had a certain way they viewed us. But my friends that I directly interacted with, it was always love from these places. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have that same like fervor for the Jamaicans, the Haitians, the Africans like a lot of people do growing up in New Jersey. I just don't.
Verbatim, but never acknowledge it. And people were in the comments saying, Marquette said that. Why are you pretending as though you said that? Come on now. Come on now. So you heard right there, he came on to he waited 2 hours just to get on screen, waited 2 hours to pay homage and respect. And I said, hey, what kind of content do you do? I'm a kind, pleasant gentleman interested in this young man coming up. He'd been watching for a very, very long time, studying. That was Myron Gaines. He had been watching for some time. And as you can see, the dates on this is back from 2020.
The receipts.
And I think I've told this story before to maybe some of the Saints in person, because people ask me, how did you meet? So this is 2020. And you can see that Walter's account was disabled. And I have a hunch on why it was disabled. We'll talk about that in a moment. But he had messaged me in September, and I responded in December. And it was actually by chance that I responded. The reason that I responded is because at the time I was living in Las Vegas like a super player, mayor of Saint City, Las Vegas, you dig. And I was going to fly to Spain, and there were 2 women I wanted to make some arrangements with. And when I'm not actively talking to someone, I'll archive the conversation. So I was searching in my restricted messages. There were 2 women I wanted to catch up. One was a gorgeous Spanish actress, fine as all get out. And then the other one's a real masterpiece, a genetic marvel, Fatima Diame. Some of you might know her. She's Senegalese by blood, Spanish by nationality. She's a long jumper. She's an Olympic long jumper. So I was planning on going out there and, seeing if I could get her pregnant real quick. So I'm looking through my message requests, trying to find, this Olympic long jumper. And then I come across Walter's message. And what I appreciated about Walter's message is the way that he approached me, and that he offered to spend some money in making an investment.
There's a lot of cats,
as you can see, I just made some notes.
They don't get DMs like this. I get DMs like this. A lot of cats don't get these type of DMs. They haven't gotten long DMs about how you changed their life and how you made them, look at things differently. I get those. I've gotten those. You know what I'm saying? A lot of cats ain't really get those. They don't know what that feel like. They don't have fans. They have like a dick. It's a difference between having supporters, fans, and dick riders. They're not the same. They're not the same. Sometimes a fan can be a supporter. Sometimes a supporter can be a fan. But the dick riders, you don't want dick riders. Pause. You don't want, unless it's a girl that's really gonna do it. You don't want dick riders. You know why you don't like? Let me tell you the difference between a fan is supporting a dick rider. A fan just fucks with your shit. No matter when you come on, when you don't. Like they just always trying to fuck, they always fuck with you. Rain, sleet, hell, snow. A supporter is someone that invests in what you do. They may not even catch your shit all the time, but they're super chat when they pop up, they DM you some encouragement, like they're investing your shit. The dick riders is dangerous. The dick riders is dangerous. The dick riders are dangerous because the dick riders are only there when they see other people there. And they leave when other people leave. Those are dick riders. You know what I'm saying? They're really just, they think they find them because they see other people looking or somebody might be on your shit. They think, okay, I could get some value out of that. So let me go over there now because this one here, like you notice that some people, when I have certain people on the channel or when I got certain view count, you'll see content creators over here that you never see no other time. Think about it. Nigga. Don't act like that, man. Don't act like that. You know what I'm saying? So remember, that's the difference. So you got to know the difference between those people in your life. You got the fans, you got the supporters, and the dick riders. The dick riders is dangerous. They'll set you up. They can get your life taken. Like it's deep. It's a whole psychology on the D riders, man. You know what I'm saying? The herd mentality. You know what I'm saying? So y'all got to remember that. Shout out to Lucky Marie in the building. She said, I like this angle. Fire, long live Nip. Oh, no problem. Thank you. Shout out to my brother. Said the herd mentality. Yeah, man. Motherfuckers got to know the difference. But yeah, man, we going to keep cooking. Support the channel, though, man. Y'all know what time it is, man.
Donation. It's a donation. I thought it was a trash. Don't be hitting on me.
Yeah, man. So let's get back to it.
You can't see what his message was, but he essentially expressed, hey, I'm a huge fan. My partner is also a huge fan, referring to Amru. We watch you religiously, and we just started our podcast, and we'd love to get you as a guest, and, just let us know what we got to pay, and we'll pay it. And mind you, at the time I was going to Spain, Spanish speaking, Miami, Spanish speaking. So I was going to figure, okay, I'll just fly through Miami. I'll stop in. And my assistant was going to go with me. Some of you may have met this particular assistant, tall, slim, white Nation. She was in a Tyler, the Creator music video. And so I liked the fact that they were willing to invest in themselves. And so obviously if I'm flying with my assistant. If we're going to get hotels, we got to get 2 hotels. And so I made it so that they didn't have to spend money on all that stuff, because what I liked about The way he reached out is that he was humble. He was basically like, hey, we're huge fans. We're just getting started. And I was like, this is a young man trying to make it in this world. Let me help him. Let me help him. He's putting in the work. He's doing the right things. Let me make it easier for him. You might say, well, wow, that's really nice of you, Marquette. Why would you do such a thing? He's a stranger to you. Well, if you check my background, you'll find that that is consistently my driving force. My first legal job was working at an after-school program. After university, I went into something called Teach for America, which puts you in the worst schools in the United States of America. I was placed into Baltimore, 98% Black school, enormous levels of poverty, 10% of the population on heroin. I went there to help. My professional training is as a teacher. I also founded a nonprofit to help people.
Now, I worked in education before too. And there's no knock on him, because I'm sure he probably does care about the inner city. But a lot of people that work in the inner city, it's a program out there where if you work for the inner city, they either lower your lower your student loans, or they remove them. So I'm not judging his intention. What I'm just saying that sometimes when you hear that, it doesn't necessarily mean people care that much, because a lot of teachers do that to get that money and then they leave and they never go back. I'm not saying that's what he did. I'm just saying that happens in education. You see a lot of white women from Wisconsin, they're working the worst places because they getting that loan removed, and then they get the fuck out of there once their tenure is up. So most people who worked in the inner city schools that really give a fuck, they be old. That means they went there and they stayed. So when you hear a lot of young cats say that, it's like they came and they went. Not saying he did, but it happens. So you know what I'm saying? It's a game and hustle in every field. You know what I'm saying? And that's the education hustle. People work in the hood and they get their shit lowered or removed, and then yeah, they're out of there. But is this one? There's another one I wanted to show, because I thought that was the one I wanted to really talk about how they had an issue with it was an encounter that he had with them, and they exposed like their real lack of understanding of women. Let's see. I'm gonna go with this one right here. And we got other topics to cover, so this is just a little appetizer.
Amaru is saying, he's like, oh yeah, do you own real estate? Are you into real estate? I was like, I'm not super into real estate. I'll use it as a store of value. I don't try to make money on real estate, but I'll use real estate to store money and protect it from inflation and things like this. But I'm not very into it. I'm in the...
Oh, shout out to Jamie with the $10 holla. Appreciate you. Always coming through, just putting money in your hands. She don't say too much. I appreciate you. You already know. So yeah, the good sister Jamie always dropping the bread.
Software business. So I don't try to make money out of real estate. I don't try to do a bunch of different things. I do the things that work really well for me. He's like, okay, yeah, because we're into real estate and I do this and I do that. He's like, so how many houses do you own? And I was like, I own property on the East Coast, property on the West Coast, some 2 modest properties abroad. He's like, oh, well, are you single family? Like how many units? And I could tell that his obsession was trying to compare himself to me or measure up, my earnings or what I'm spending. And this is very common with these people who move into Miami or people who move.
So based on we got the 3 topics. We got the fan, we got the support, and the dick rider. What do you think Myron is to the situation? These type of questions when niggas be sizing you up like that, they dick riders, man. And they just go from one to the next and just bup, and they just be like, and not only they be riding, they de-measuring too. I hate dudes like that. Real niggas don't do that. They just want to see how you doing, where your head is at, and what can we do together. Whether we could make some money together, or we could chop it up, bust a move, go hit an event. Like they don't even talk about stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? You gotta make sure your circle ain't got those in it, because they be closer than you think.
Move into Los Angeles. It's these guys who are very effeminate And women, the reason they wear all this makeup and they have variable self-esteem is because they're constantly playing the comparison game. They're not comfortable in their skin because they don't know who they are. And also they need constant attention and validation from the external world. And so he was constantly like, oh yeah, like a, single family detached, like how many units, or do you have a property manager? I'm just like, bro, like chill, man, like build a relationship, like get to know one another. Like I'm not here to discuss my holdings with you. Like you're my.
See what he just said? He said, get to know one another. This is how men communicate. They like girls be asking questions like that. So how much you make? So what you do? And you don't want a chick like that. So imagine a man coming at you like that. But these are the guys that's telling you how to deal with life and women. These are the guys.
Financial advisor. And I already told you I'm not into real estate. So like I don't even know why we're talking about this. I'm a software guy. I got offices across the United States and in Asia and in LATAM. That's what I'm into. And we're here to kick this game. You heard me? Like let's kick the game. So then we start, we get in the car, we start driving. And they're talking about, yeah, man, like, we looked at the space and, we're going to try to take over and we're going to do this. We're going to invest money. And we're going to do X, Y, and Z. I'm really enjoying this conversation because I love to hear about people's plans. And especially if I can be of any assistance in, bouncing ideas off of me or giving advice or helping people avoid pitfalls. So I was really enjoying this conversation. And then Amru says, yeah, man, because, you're like the only competition really in the space. He's like, because so-and-so's a bum, this guy's a bum, and this guy doesn't know anything. And I'm not going to name the people he was naming because I don't think it's necessary to create further conflict for these guys. And he was like, yeah, but you have a cult-like following. He's like, your people, they really follow you. They really with you. I appreciate that. He's like, yeah, so you're our only competition. I was thinking like, am I competition? Like, you're not competition to me. Like, you wear t-shirts every day. Like, you're swagless and classless. You guys try to get girls off of social media and you're DMing the girl. It's not her DMing you.
See the word. You notice that word, the space. We've heard that word a lot. We've heard that word from a lot of individuals. The space. These are the words of nerds. See, they don't understand that a lot of men in this that come to this space are looking for some type of perspective that they can apply to their lives. But the guys that you're looking at on these screens are not here for that. They're looking at a need. They're looking at an algorithm. They're looking at the backgrounds, the camera, the lighting, the atmosphere that they may have the means to invest in, to create, to make money. He didn't say there's a lot of young men that need help. There's a lot of men that need some knowledge. There's a lot of men that need this game. He said, I can take over the space. You heard that before, right? Taking over the space. They don't give a fuck about you. These men don't have any information to add to you. They don't have any book references for you. They don't have any career ideas, nothing. It's algorithm based and they're playing on your mind and they're consuming in you of a certain type of content. Let me get some dumbass chicks, argue with them. Likes go up, subs go up. You ain't learned nothing. You just, now you a D-Rider. They done made you that shit. You just over there just watching that shit, just donating. Like, you ain't learning nothing. You getting more and more mad at the chicks. The first chick you see that look like the motherfucker you see on the screen, bitch, I swear to God, they done fucked you up. Meanwhile, they got OnlyFans subscription accounts and they paying for pussy. Not saying those guys are specifically or not. What I'm saying is these type of guys, this is what the fuck they be doing. These manosphere legends. You get more women than these niggas. Let's get back to it, man.
You don't spit game. I'm not competition to you. You're not competition to me. Like, you're teaching a course on social media. I teach a course on how to create a product-based business with $500 or less. How to get in a real business with tangible products. Like, I'm not teaching any of this get-rich-quick nonsense. We're not even in the same market. You're red pill. I'm no pill. I'm just kicking this Marquettism. We're not the same at all. We just both happen to have demographics that overlap.
Bingo. That part. Illa ain't red pill. Nigga, this the ill pill. You feel me? So, philosophy over here. We dropping philosophy. I ain't with none of this shit these niggas on. Like he said, your crowds just overlap. It's just an overlapping, bruh. That's it. You think a motherfucker that go to McDonald's, he might go to Cava too. He might go to Chipotle. He might. But will you compare a Cava to a Wendy's or Chick-fil-A? No. But they have some of the same customers. They're in two different worlds. One deals with vegetables. One is greasy fried fucking chicken that's easy to eat and full of products and fucking drugs and all that bullshit. Fuck this space. It ain't about this space. It's about fucking with people who resonate with your perspectives. And they might come from other places. They might come organically to you. Well said, Saint and Sinner, man. Let's go.
And I thought that was really strange that he's looking at me as competition as opposed to like, hey, we're out here to have a good time. We're both young guys. We're in our prime. Let's have a good time. Let's get to know each other. Let's enjoy some of these beautiful women, the good weather. And I was just like, man, what's up?
Didn't I just say that? I just said that. See, when you really out here and really how to interact and dealing with people and talking to these women, bro, like this is what it is, nigga. Like these dudes don't be doing that shit. They live in a box on here where you can manipulate everything. That real, authentic, raw conversation. Niggas ain't got that shit, man. Niggas ain't never been in every different state, getting women, talking to women all over the country and building with men all over. No matter where you go, in any room, in any state, you can get people to respect you, talk to you, even do stuff for you. These dudes don't know how to do that shit at all.
With bro, like, what's up with little buddy? So anyways, we go do the show. Then after the show, we go out to eat at a place called Moxie's. And we're pretty deep. And at that point, my assistant was back with us. I told her to kick back earlier because I thought we were just going to be talking guy talk and, you know, building a relationship and a bond. So I didn't need her around like jotting down things. And so I told her like, hey, so we had finished the show and we're going to Moxie's. And so there's, of course, a lot of random people around. And when you're dealing with folks who are not players, they live by a different code. Really, it's no code. And I grew up around real players, man. And the thing is, when you're around people who are bosses, man, they don't have to talk to your girl to take your girl. Your girl just might be like, what material is that on that suit? What is that? What material? Like, why is your silk handkerchief? Just let me make that neat. I'm like, nah, baby, leave it sloppy. Just leave it sloppy. There was this little Venezuelan thing. She was all right. Like, she wasn't even attractive like that. She was all right. And so we get to Moxie's and then she takes a seat right next to me. Now, my assistant is to my right. The little Venezuelan thing takes a seat right next to me. Then they tell her to get up because I think Fresh had wanted to sit there. And then so she gets up, she goes around to the other side of the table to sit directly in front of me. And I kind of look at my assistant like, damn, shorty is kind of wilding over here. And I'm just thinking she's a random roadie. You know, she's just a random chick that's on their staff. So she goes around and she's like, yeah, I listened to your interview. It was so engaging. I've heard all of their interviews. Like, this was the most engaging one. She was like, wow, I can't believe you live here and you live there. You have the office here. And like, you're just so smart. And like, oh my God, like you're different. You're something else. She was like, I'm from Venezuela and I just been here in America for like 3 years. And I'm just like, I'm trying to network. I'm trying to figure things out. She was like, can you mentor me? And I was like,
what my nigga Jayz say? You niggas just right. I recollect. And so Jayz really counted them checks. You feel me? See, when he's talking like this, I'm recollecting I've had experience like such since a young boy. Niggas don't know what that feel like when she choosing, you know. They don't recognize the choosing signals, man. I just had a moment. He's talking like, yeah, man. I'm recollecting. I know what that feel like. I know what that feels like.
Nah, I'm flying to España. You feel me? I'm about to be out of the country for about a month and a half. You know, I can't really mentor anybody. She was like, oh no, she's like, you just have so much good information. She was like, let me get your IG. Let me get your IG. And I'm kind of like, I don't want to say turned off, but I'm not interested because she's like, all right. And I'm further not interested because it's like you're pressing me really hard, but like it's a whole table full of people, right? It's like the whole staff is at the table. I'm like, God damn, you just like really pressing me in public like this. So anyways, someone says it was Angie. I don't know if that's the girl's name. I'm not sure who that is, to be honest with you. So I don't want to, please don't say that name if that's not her. This is a long time ago. I don't even know these folks' name. But anyways, the Venezuelan young lady, she gets my IG, sends me a message, and then we leave. And then later on that night is me, Fresh, and one of their staff, whom I'm not going to name. And then Fresh and the staff members start laughing, and they're like, man, that BITCH is a this and a that. And I was like, who? They're like, that so-and-so, and they use her name, which I don't recall what it was. They're like, yeah, that's like Myron's girl. And I was like, oh, man. And I feel bad at that point because if I knew that was Myron's girl, I would have been snowman shoulder on the bra. You heard me? Like I would have gave her the coldest shoulder she ever experienced. I wouldn't have responded at all to nothing if I would have known that. But the way she was pressing me, I thought she was a free agent looking for a team. I thought she was seeking some management out there. So I'm just going with the flow, not being impolite. But as I say, when you're not dealing with real peas, you don't know how to set things up right. Like first off, if you're dealing with a real boss, his girl ain't gonna be getting out of pocket like that, doing all that yapping and reckless eyeballing. That's out. Number one. Number two, he's G enough that when he introduces her, he makes it known. You feel me? First off, I don't introduce any of my women. Let them kick back and stay in the rear like a shadow. You dig? There's no introductions because it's not necessary. I'm her speaker. You got something to say? I'll translate it. But anyways, if he was really G, he'd be like, oh, hey, Quet, this is my girl. Whoop-de-whoop. And I'd have said, hey, yeah, I don't even need to shake hands with you. It's not necessary. You don't even need to smell my cologne. Hang back. But anyways, so like Fresh and oh boy start laughing and they calling the girl out of her name saying she's a slur. And maybe she is a slur. I don't know. And I wasn't trying to find out. So that was the end of the first experience. Then I did, but I could see Myron like had like a bad attitude. And it was all of his own making because I showed up out of generosity and I only treated everyone with kindness and respect the whole time. So that relationship started off a little bit rocky, and it was sad because had I known it was his girl, I don't know if it was his girl or if he was just laying up with her.
Yeah, I think that's the end of that one. Marquette is funny as hell, man. Like I'm sorry, I thought I could find it, man. There was a video where he was talking about how they met and he seen them run down on a girl. And Saint and them was like, Fresh and them was like, yo, you just walk up to girls and just talk to them? Marquette was like, yeah, motherfucker, like, what do you do? Like, you don't, all that cold, remember that cold approach era? I hate it. Remember that era, y'all? Where there was these long ass campaigns on cold approaching is for losers. Like, remember that? It is, put a one in the chat if y'all remember that conversation. The cold approach was the lame thing. I was like, what the fuck is these niggas talking about? I was trying to see where they were going with it when I started hearing certain dialogue. But do y'all remember that era? The anti-cold approach era? Like, that's how you get your feet wet. Is going up to motherfuckers and talking. Whether they reject you, accept you. Bruh, exactly. What are they talking about? That's how you learn women. The hard way, bruh. What's going on? Go to a group, 2, 3 of them. Now, I ain't trying to interrupt. One of y'all look nice, though. You know what I'm saying? I just want to say what's up, let you know I'm in here. I see y'all. What y'all drinking tonight? What y'all doing tonight? What's up? Y'all like the party? Y'all like the DJ? You know what I mean? Come here often. What's up? Go socialize. These dudes don't be knowing. Exactly. They were telling niggas to wait till women approach you. Yeah, and I feel like these guys were like the flagship speaker. If I'm not mistaken, they was the ones. See, as you could see, these guys, they be making movements based on their inadequacies. Since they don't know how to talk to, that's what I'm telling y'all. This space, this guy's on there. It's like my nigga Nas said, people feel they don't understand, hate what they can't conquer. But I learned that these modern day Negroes, because everybody always talking about the modern women, but this modern male is different too. This modern male is a lot of these guys is weird, bro. Like, we gonna have to start talking about the modern male. And I think it's no one better than to talk about that than the men. They were teaching men based on their inadequacies and trying to turn their frowns upside down. Like, well, I don't talk to girls. I don't cold approach. You know what? I don't need the cold approach. I'm still successful. I make money. The cold approach is for losers. All they're going to do is reject you and play you like you're not cool. That type of shit. No, cold approach is the only approach. It shows a woman you ain't scared. It shows her you don't got a problem with rejection. It shows her that you're not worried about other people, because most of the time this is public. Other people are watching. It's a lot of boxes that you check off just by going up to a woman in her mind. Now, what you say after that, that's another thing. But just the fact that you can just say, hey, in this era where people are all weird and acting crazy, and you could just be like, no, excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you just caught my eye. What's your name? Just that alone to get you a lot farther, or make a woman just look at you differently, and it might turn her on. So that whole cold approach era, they were trying to knock that and waiting for, like, women don't approach unless they're like, it happens. It happens, but most of the time there's an agenda attached. Because women don't want to do that. So she goes out her way to just go up to you. You might look and smell like money or something, like you might give off a vibe that's saying take care of us. It's something else. It ain't just because you just that nigga. Like it ain't that. So what a woman will do is give you choosing signals. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of cats still don't have no fucking idea what those look like. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think that these guys were always corny as hell. I didn't need Saint Sinner to let me know that. Like, I seen it from the door. And y'all should see it too. Like, a lot of these cats just found a way, and I had a mutual connect with them that was trying to get me on the show. I don't even know if they know I was going to be there or not, but somebody they invited was going to bring me. So there was a chance I could have been up there, but I've been around some of these cats. What's going on, Miss Kimberly? Peace, peace, peace. They don't know nothing about women, man. They know about YouTube, algorithm, and analytics. And when you understand those things, you can talk about anything at that point. You know what I'm saying? You just got to present it well. So these guys are good at making media, but don't think that they really understand women that listen to them is going to help you understand. And a lot of times when you listen to these dudes, the further away you're going to get from women, if you still want them. You know what I'm saying? So let's go on to the next thing. Now, I know y'all all seen the skit that's causing all this controversy. Druski did this parody recently about I think it was Erica Kirk. Now I don't know how I don't know why people are so upset about it, but I'm hearing a lot of people, black people, saying it went too far. I'm hearing white folks saying that this blackface, and if we did blackface, it'll be the same thing. It's not the same thing. Blackface, white people, was strictly made to mock and to show an ignorant version of us, to perpetuate a stereotype during one of the most racist eras where we were still being assaulted and killed and hung and all of that. And they were using blackface to dehumanize and justify the continued dehumanization of black people. They were colored. First of all, we're literally brown. You see me, my skin is brown. We're not black. We're brown. They would paint themselves black with big old red outliner to make their lips look real big. Everybody skinning and grinning and doing this. That's not the same as wearing a costume of someone. Like Halloween. People wear costumes. They become someone totally different. That's not the same. But you see how they use it as an excuse to say, oh, when we do it, it's like you want to do it anyway. So you're just trying to find an excuse to justify it. Well, what Druski did is not black, it's not whiteface or whatever. Shit, they did a whole movie called White Girls. That was more demeaning than what Druski did. Druski literally just acted like a literal white woman. Not really, he didn't even do it over the top. I guess when the mirror is up and you see yourself, it may not sit well with you, but I want to see this shit. Is this it? I think this is it. No. It's somebody reacting to it. Let's find it. Right. All right, let's get into it. Can y'all see it? This guy is funny as hell. Hold on. Y'all see it? 'Cause I can't see it on my side. Oh, I'm sorry.
People online were saying it felt too similar, but Erica Kirk clearly didn't find it funny. And Druski later Kirk is officially taking legal action against Druski because of his most recent skit. In the skit, he recreated her almost exactly. The all-white outfit, the entrance with fireworks, the signature double take, that half-crying, half-smiling expression, the exaggerated gestures, and even the slightly awkward speaking rhythm. As soon as it dropped, people online were saying it felt too similar, but Erica Kirk clearly didn't find it funny. And Druski later announced that he actually received a cease and desist from her, so there's now a strong chance he could face a lawsuit over this video. Erica Kirk is officially...
I mean, he didn't even say her name. He didn't even say her name. You know what I'm saying? And this what kills me, man. This what kills me, man, right? Shout out to my cool white people, man. I don't got no problem with white folks. Personally, I got a problem with white supremacy, elitist, baby eating shit. Black people done been through so much at the hands of white people in this country that to see them go overboard for shit like this just be crazy to me. It's like with all the shit we've been through here, you don't think you're gonna get joked on? We ain't talking about bombing your schools. We're not talking about raping your children, eating your children, robbing your wealth. We're talking about making fun of you. And to see that alone be just driving y'all all up the wall be crazy to me. Like y'all did a whole lot and you can't even take some jokes. You can't even take somebody talking about you. He didn't say a name. But that's not blackface. That's not the same thing. Blackface is something totally different. Let's look at what that is. And is it the same as what Erica Kirk did? Let's look at it.
Why on earth would a black performer put on blackface and demean him or herself?
They were expected to.
Why?
Because it made the audiences comfortable.
Why on earth would a black performer put on blackface and demean him or herself?
They were expected to.
Why?
Because it made the audiences comfortable.
So blackface made audiences, white people, comfortable back in the day, which means that they only could accept you looking like a goddamn idiot, perpetuating their sick, dehumanized view of you. You had to perpetuate that for them to even accept you. Let's look at it.
The controversy over Virginia Governor Ralph Northam and blackface hasn't yet cost Northam his job. But it apparently means the country needs to have a conversation, again, about the toxic strain in American cultural history known as minstrelsy. So it's time for a little education. Just in case there are Americans out there who may be too afraid to ask their best black friend why it's so offensive.
Minstrelsy is a performance tradition that started in the mid-1800s. And what it was whites dressing up, caricaturing African Americans, mimicking their dance, their language, their music, providing comic relief for their audiences. Minstrelsy operates in two ways. In one way, it separates whiteness as something very distinct for blackness and frames blackness as something of the other and lesser than white cultural habits, ways of speech, song, and dance. It objectifies African Americans and distances them from their humanity. It made them seem foolish, simple of mind, not intelligent, cheap, an image and a stereotype that people use as a lens to judge African Americans from here.
That's a huge difference than putting on some makeup and acting, doing what Druski did. It's not the same thing. This is the difference. It was done intentionally to dehumanize and justify you being discarded and being nothing. It's not the same thing as Druski wearing a white chick's uniform.
on out. It moved on to vaudeville, musical comedy, musical theater, and also into television, radio, and films. You'll find the remnants of minstrelsy in a lot of forms of popular culture. Think about some of your favorite film comedies or television shows. When white actors mimic African-American speech patterns or breaking into a moonwalk, in some ways they are taking on that same persona that the blackface entertainers did on the minstrel stage. I think blackface is a really complicated issue. I find it painful to see it in action. It's a reminder of the devaluation of who African Americans have been in this country. And so when we wrestle with that history and really start to understand it, I believe that's the first step to really ridding ourselves of these images.
So yeah, that's the difference. It's not the same thing. This thing Druski did is not going to up the crime rate against white women. It's not going to cause this mass the hell. It's not going to cause. It's not going to cause these upheaval of society based on what we did. No one's being disenfranchised. No one's getting their land taken. No one's getting lynched. People just joking. And the funny thing, blackface was done to make a joke as well. So we had to take that, but you can't take this. And minstrel comedy was a culture. It was a cultural thing. It was all over the country. That was the only way they wanted to perceive us, period. So to hear people equate that was kind of weird. So to be fair, I seen Emmanuel Acho. I don't know if y'all watch his show, Speakeasy. They was talking about this. And it said that he went too far. So I want to see what black men are saying about this situation. I'm hoping that that's just the caption to bring us in. But to hear this man talk about go too far, I would love to hear what they say. Fair use. I don't know how they're going to treat this, the use of this video. But we're going to fair use it up. I'm going to speed it up a little bit more.
Reportedly, maybe mimicking Erica Kirk. I'll let you guys take a look at this skit that he released yesterday. First of all, this is an insane visual right here. But I'll press play.
What ways have you grown closer to Jesus?
I serve a righteous God.
Hey, Mansa, I texted to you, but I'm going to drop it now. I'm about to drop the link. This is for Mansa only. This is for Mansa only. Please don't hit the link. This is for Mansa Muhammad. I just put the link in the chat, Mansa. I started at the top. So yeah, pull up, brother. But I want to hear what these brothers had to say.
And that is why we say our prayers. We are all his children. But when I say children, I mean like the holy blessed Trinity, which is why I hold the Bible.
Oh man! Now this went on a lot. He was dancing at the rally. Apparently, this is him dancing at the rally in the video as well. Druski also ended up putting out a statement saying, too far after receiving some backlash for the skit. Maybe mimicking, a new widow was a little bit too far. How do you guys feel though? Did Druski take it too far with this latest skit?
All right, look, Prize Picks is America's #1 sports picks app, and it's the easiest way to win cash while you're in 30 states, including.
And he's a creator, is he not? This is his interpretation of what he's seen.
Yep.
And he's a creator, is he not?
He is,
and so all he is doing is creating, and it hurt feelings. And that's not his fault because that's the impression you gave him of yourself. And all he did was kind of make a parody of it, made it just funny. The dude's mind, he's a genius when it comes to that type of stuff. Extremely funny. But this should show the people how others are viewing him. And is it a bad thing? It really, it's funny. And they didn't like it because I was on my way here. I'm in a little traffic. You start reading. Ted Cruz got upset about it. He commented on it. And so for me, I'm a political person, but I read a lot. And so for them to feel a certain type of way, if you don't want people to view you in that light, change the light in which they view you in there. That to me is very simple. Condolences to Erica Kirk and her losing her husband, Charlie Kirk. Violence is never the answer. But that was funny. Druski is a creator and he's doing what creators do. And he created something that was it grabbed everybody's attention for sure.
I don't think Druski took it too far because comedy has no boundaries. Let's start there. Before I'm anything else, I'm a Christian. Druski's last most popular skit, most viewed skit, was making a mockery of the black church and just hyperbolically talking about so many things that the black church does, whether it be aggressively trying to ask for funds, whether it be...
Well, I'm glad they kept it real. I thought they was going to start tap dancing. They didn't. But we got a guest in the building. Our brother, Monster Muhammad, man. What's going on? I see you done pulled up, man. We about to get into this Jay-Z conversation. I don't know if what you've been watching or if you want to add to the commentary you already had or you want to move forward. The floor is yours, brother.
No. I mean, I didn't get to catch everything before. I was catching some of it, but yeah, man. I mean, as far as the Druski thing, these are some very interesting topics you touched on today because they mark a nexus point in the culture. You know what I mean, of what's happening in America, what's happening in Black America, white America, et cetera. And, to keep it real, Black people are sensitive when certain jokes and certain things is made about Black folks. You know what I'm saying? And, rightfully so, whatever the case may be. However, there's no power a lot of times other than complaining that Black people have when things are done against our community, right? So we just had to deal with Black fatigue. We just had to deal with all of these different things that were coming out in the culture that was attacking
white people.
Black folk. Exactly. So now, because Druski hit a nerve with Erica Kirk, he was able to turn, because white America holds Charlie Kirk and his family as like American royalty. You know what I mean? White American royalty. Mm-hmm. And they want to make it so she's off limits. They even turned on Candace Owens. You know what I mean? Somebody who was a big, she was a big figure in the right wing, white, spaces, conservative spaces. But they even turned on her, for Erica Kirk. And everybody saw some of the weirdness, and he just hit the nail precisely with making fun of her, right? And so what's happening now is you're going to start to see a lot more racist comedians or racist jokes that come out against Black folks, not like they haven't been coming out already.
And that's my thing. It's like they always find a reason to just do what you want to do anyway, or to remind us that you've been doing it anyway. Like I was 100%. Watching, I like to binge watch stuff. After Game of Thrones, I've become a binge watcher because I like Game of Thrones had me at the edge of my seat. So it's like, I just like to see the whole story go through. I don't want to wait. So I've been watching this show called Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, yeah. Sons of Anarchy was a good show.
And they just say nigga just like just regular. these niggas kill these niggas. The niggers did it. It's like this. In most white movies, they say that shit to this day. So it's like, obviously, this must be how you talk when we're not around. Like their racism is never just hitting. And it's like you made a great point. The thing is, when they bring up blackface or they bring up other things, it's like what y'all do to us, death comes with it. Gentrification comes with it. The total rebranding and dehumanization of an entire people comes with it. It's not just isolated on a TV show or a joke. This is just an isolated incident. They're going to laugh and she's still going to get money. It's not going to change the perception of white folks and their economic status and global image at all. Like, but when it's us, it's on that level. Like,
No, absolutely. I mean, there's repercussions and consequences. And you can look at Donald Trump's election as backlash for Obama's election. You see what I'm saying? You can look at like that's how far they went.
Tit for tat.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? And it's crazy because I don't even know if I can say his name on here or something like that, but the Fuentes cat, yeah. I know, I'm just saying, you know how the algorithms are, but the Nick Fuentes cat, that guy, he had a recent video where he was like, he missed Obama. Because the right wing, the voices on the right wing, because the white right wing conservatives have they're pissed about what Donald Trump is doing. They're losing a lot of money. Things isn't going the way they thought it was going to go. It's really just his rich friends that this is coming from their talking points, not necessarily mine. But the point is that him saying he missed Obama and him being like a staunch racist indicates the level of displeasure they had with Obama or a black person being in office, to the point where they went to the other far end to elect Donald Trump because he was saying all of the white power racist talking points that they wanted to hear to get back. But now it's not turned out the way they want to, right?
Exactly.
So the point I'm making in all of that is, and again, I saw you on the show like months ago with on, I forgot what platform it was, but it was talking about black fatigue, and I think Pearl, she was on there.
Mhm.
So this whole thing about black crime, the crime I'm just saying, all of these things they've been getting at black folks big time on, right? And now this Druski thing, because Druski is like a major comedian, he's hilarious, all of these different things, they really are upset that he kind of captured the essence of the folly and the stupidity that she represents, and that whole crowd represents. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to start doing things with black, and this is why I say all the time about black folks, like, we have to kind of move past some of the things we get angry about, because you give it power over us in a way where it's like, yo, okay, I'm not down for letting white people call us, niggas and stuff like that. But to be mad that they say nigga is stupid. To be mad that they say all of these different things to get under our skin, because that's how they operate. To be upset at these things only shows the lack of emotional maturity. We should be focused on the things that actually really affect us, economic policies, things of that nature, because they're always going to use these little things to try to get under our skin. So when they come with blackface, right? When you see more white comedians now start to come out and make racist jokes and stuff like that, what we're supposed to get upset, we know who these people are. And why are we even getting upset? Because this whole Epstein thing, the way white America has let this Epstein thing slide, they have no more leverage to talk about anything. They can't talk about black crime.
Nothing. Just think of the black men that when they was accused of something, Michael Jackson, OJ, Puff, Cosby, R. Kelly. These men's life has been, R. Kelly got life. Life, man. Now we're learning that it's like, I don't even hear enough black people talking about this Epstein shit. It's like, it just like, to me, it cleared the slate for the slate was already cleared with me, and I'm sure with you too. It's like, before this was even known, there's enough been done that is known to make you already go like, I don't want to, every issue that we have, the inception of it starts at the feet of a European think tank. Am I being exaggerating when I say that, Monster, or is that true?
That's very true. I mean, everything in the society that we live in proliferates, and its origin point proliferates specifically from think tanks, because this is the people that they hire or put in place to observe society, see what's going on, you know what I mean? Figure out how, what are the trigger points to things, and then they matriculate that to the major corporations. It's just like focus groups to find out what works with this audience or what works with that audience, so they can figure out this marketing angle. All these things start from think tanks. You know what I mean? Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? That's the origin point. And I think that we have to move to a place as black people in America to just not care about what white people say or think. I mean, they lost it all. This Epstein, these guys I was about to say had, but it's still ongoing. They have an international human trafficking ring. They eat kids, they eat people, and they eat kids, and they assault. They grape, as you put it, with the word grape. You know what I mean? Kids. Now, let's look at black criminal culture, right? Because they say, oh, we are the leaders in crime, right? Okay, so let's go look at prison culture. You look at prison culture among the criminals. This is the culture of the criminals. Among the culture of the criminals, if you harm women or kids, you can't be in general population. They have to put you in PC. They have to put you in protective custody. You can't be with the regular criminals because they'll harm you. They'll either take you out of here or they'll severely harm you, because those crimes are seen as the most despicable and lowest and weakest and vilest crimes that any person can do, to harm women and kids. You see? And so when you look at the stats of the crime, Tim Tebow, the former quarterback, he did a special on one of these podcasts where he was going over how much white American males are proliferate in the abuse cases with children.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
I didn't know that.
So yeah, Tim Tebow, look it up. He pointed out, showing how all the IP addresses, there were downloads, you know what I mean, of this stuff. There was a report that came out about the Pentagon. Like, it was all these computers in the Pentagon that had all of the child stuff on it. You know what I'm saying? So the point I'm making is this concept that, like, there's a projection. So they project the things that they do onto us. So the black man is the biggest criminal. You know, he's gonna harm white women and kids and stuff. That's all them. And this is one time where black women's attitude and their sass saved them, because they said in the Epstein files they didn't want black women, because black women were too much of a problem. You know what I mean? So black women ain't gonna just let you grip a bump and do whatever you want to do.
Control. Listen, if a world, Jesus Christ, black women. If a worldwide conspiracy, underground sex cult, demon eating motherfuckers who got all the resources and all the weaponry and all the secrecy and exclusion to do what they want with you, if they can't handle you, what the fuck do you think? I'm sorry, sisters. Goddamn. But shout out to y'all for fighting it back.
Shout out to them.
Can't control y'all. We don't stand a goddamn chance. But go ahead, Bossa. Jesus Christ.
No, shout out to them. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to them, because it was literally in the emails. They was like, no, black women, we can't control them. They're gonna be a problem. You know what I'm saying? So the threat, this whole big threat, man, is anything at this point that white America has to say about critiques. Like, it's, to me personally, it's just
they need to stop talking about us.
Yeah, they just stop. Just stop, man.
Just stop. Speaking of which, I remember when this woman was you brought up her earlier, and I was so disgusted with a lot of men in this space when she was making her rounds and all the ass kissing she was getting, and this was like the era of when, if you just have an issue with women, people just allow you to say anything. And a lot of black men would lock arms with these people just because they have issues with women, as if that's the price of admission to just talk about anything and anybody, and it's fucking not. So listen to what Pearl said about Epstein. Remember the big fuss she made about black crime and black statistics? You guys do this and you do that. But this is what she said about,
because other cultures feel the exact same way about their candidates, even though they're monsters. They don't give a damn. They're not voting for no.
But we don't care if they're monsters. We care if they're competent. That's the difference. White people, she's talking about Trump. We don't really care if he's got 3 baby mamas if he can get the job done. We're like Epstein's Island. Well, we all got flaws. Can you lower our taxes?
we all got flaws. Can you lower our taxes? Wow. Epstein's Island is a lot more than just a character flaw. This is a paradigm shift. This is the total revealing. Oh, they done froze. So they hating. They done froze.
No. That's me. That's me. I was frozen. I am flabbergasted.
Yeah, you got the floor, man. Go ahead, man. She said this. I don't see no black men. All these dudes that was working with her and all, they ain't said nothing about her saying this shit. I don't care if it was 10 seconds. She made it an issue to talk about our problems and all that, when we all know most of our problems, if not all of them, have a paper trail that goes to a 3-letter organization.
She said that?
She said that.
This is why you can't take them serious. See, people gotta also understand what this generation does. It's called rage bait, right? So they'll say things they don't even believe what they're saying or stand by it, but it gets views, it's shock value, and their whole mission is to just it's rage bait, just to get people upset, because you can tell she was bothered by that. You see, because here's the thing, right? That's a cultural norm for them.
Yes, it is.
You see, that's why it's not a big deal to them, and it's such a cultural norm for them that now that the rest of the world has gotten behind the curtain and it's like, yo, they're like, so what? Everybody has flaws. It's no big deal. There's a show called Startup. I think they put it out. I think they put it on Amazon Prime, or it might be Netflix, called Startup though. And it's about like this Cuban girl or this Hispanic girl who comes up with this trading algorithm for crypto. It's a really good show. Point is though, in the show, one of the investors was this white guy. He played like Hellboy in one of the old movies.
Ron Perlman.
Yeah. Ron Perlman.
He was in Sons of Anarchy too.
Yep. And so he specifically is a situation in the show where his daughter is dating one of the guys who's a founder of the startup.
Mm-hmm.
And basically they have a strained relationship because he used to rent her out basically to powerful business friends of his for them to have their way with her so he can close deals with them. You see? So what I'm saying is this is a cultural norm for them. You see what I'm saying? So we know, like you have a situation in the Black community now where, back in the day, you could be an older man with a younger woman as adults. That's a big problem. That's become such a problem now where people are like, oh, you 40, you shouldn't be with a woman who's 25 or 26. You know what I'm saying? These are grown adults we're talking about. The point I'm getting at is culturally, Black people are so much more on the other moral side, on some things, not all things, but so much on the other moral side of things where adult man and woman can't even have such a big age gap between them before it becomes a problem. Do you ever see that conversation happen in white America? No. You never see that conversation that happens in white America. You see? And the point I'm making is because it's such a cultural norm for them to do this type of activity. So when it comes to what Pearl is addressing, like, we don't care if they're monsters, we care if they're competent. So this lets you know they was rage baiting the whole entire time when they talk about Black crime and stuff like that. They don't care about the stuff as long as they're flourishing economically. You see what I'm saying? So they have no moral compass. They have no moral collateral. They don't have any moral clarity to speak on, or moral currency to speak on these things. This is why we can't even take them serious at this point.
And another thing people have to realize, because they always talk out of two sides of their mouths, the fact that they hold you to a standard different, because our people oftentimes always try to argue with them, well, you do it, but why? When you do it, we do. Because even they know you're better. They know that that's not really your type of movement. That's really not your style. They ain't your steez like that. This whole overly violent, all of this overly sick, that was none of this debaucherous behavior, is this degenerate behavior. That ain't your style. So they waving a finger because they holding you to the standard of you. You think, we be thinking that acting proper is actually mimicking them, and it's really not. The word is called morals. You know what I'm saying?
There we go. Like, there we go.
They don't even realize that they just being themselves, and they can't fathom why you keep comparing yourself to them. They know that they're not like you. They know that they don't move, have the same cultural norms as you. And like you said, like I've met white women, and they have some crazy stories of abuse. Crazy stories of abuse.
Yeah. No, 100%.
It's not. They don't intervene on each other's abuse like that.
Nope.
Your homies can't find out you beating your girl.
Right.
You know
That's
what I'm
a fact.
saying?
That's a
we
fact.
ain't playing that. Like something's
That's
going
a
to happen.
fact.
There's going to be a confrontation, a conversation. Like it's not something that's just going to. Not saying that it's always like that, but when it comes to the amount, like more often than not, we never was just with a lot of this stuff, and that's why I just didn't understand this new. Like I was talking about earlier, we talk so much about the modern woman and the modern black woman, but it's time to start talking about this modern black man and how weird he has become, and a lot of conversation that these guys are having, and a lot of stuff that they're excusing, and I feel like they've shown their head and their face in this so-called manosphere. And I started to see it with the conversation they would dismiss, and they would dismiss stuff that Myron will say or Pearl will say just because somebody has a gripe with women. And it's also, to me, it also bleeds into even the way we view economics. And I want to get into this interview with Jayz because I feel like he represents a type of this new black man mindset that is very out of touch with who we are. And I don't know if you're familiar with the interview. I don't know if you saw it, but I definitely want to get into it.
I saw clips of it for sure, but I have yet to. I still didn't listen to 444 to be honest with you.
I haven't either. I heard them already, so I was straight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people keep talking about it like it's his magnum opus. But there's a song on that album that I want y'all to remember. He had a song called called The Story of OJ, where he talks about how OJ, which I hate that song. A lot of people thought that song was so dope. I hated it because I'm not still nothing, motherfucker. Like black, no matter what, you still a nigga. No, I don't agree with that. I don't think people thought that was so profound. It's funny. Nas said, I can be what I want to be. Jay-Z told you, no matter what, at the billionaire status that he's at, he told his supporters that no matter what, you still a nigga. And he used OJ to paint that picture. I ain't mad at OJ saying, I'm not black, I'm OJ. I didn't. When somebody says something like that, I wasn't offended. Maybe back then I would have been, but with my understanding now, when somebody say I'm not black, I'm OJ, I don't think that he thinks he's better than the people. I think he's saying that word limits what I truly am. Like, how do you feel about that statement? I'm not black, I'm OJ.
Well, I think, I mean, on some levels, it's like, I think our experience here in America has caused us to see ourselves through the lens of everybody else, and particularly white folks. You see what I'm saying? So we don't see ourselves through our own eyes. We see ourselves as they see us, because that's always our default in a lot of ways. We'll say stuff like, oh, you know, it don't matter what you say, they still gonna call you black. You know, now it's historically, us being black, us referencing that as a description for us is ancient. It go back to ancient Egypt, you know, Kemet, land of the blacks. You know what I'm saying? You know, we can go all the way through so many points in history and show that we referenced ourselves as that. In applying ourselves, well, black is not a crayon. You know, that's the other thing. Like, that's an illusion. Like, a crayon is a specific object, but black is a descriptor, right? Mm-hmm. It's a description. It's what you would call an adjective, something that describes a noun, which is a person, place, or thing, right? So we've always, that description of us is more ancient than people being described as white, because being described as white or being referenced as such didn't start or proliferate until Bacon's Rebellion, which is like the late 1600s or something like that in America, right? Where people became this, where you got this white status and this white class. But the reason I'm going to all of that is because in the 1500s, the 1500s, Europe started to demonize black and associate it with the devil, right? And this was based on their interaction with the Moors, of course. So that's when anything associated with black became associated with negativity, right, in European culture. So when we come to this space we're at now, and we say no matter what you are, no matter what you got going on, you're going to always be a nigga, right? Or you're going to always just be black. This is accepting the projection on us by people that are not from who we are. You know what I mean? And so by embracing that. That's not to say, oh, we don't identify with that descriptor as a way to describe who we are as a people or so on and so forth, right? Because when you even get into the science of black, you know what I mean? When you get into the science of melanin and this cosmic, you know, it absorbs. Like I'm a digress for a little bit, but I'm gonna come back.
Go ahead.
Look at how when they describe melanin, they say melanin is something that protects you from the sun's UV rays. Do you feel like your melanin protects you from the sun?
No, I think it absorbs the sun.
No, it does. But the point I'm making is the reason you don't see it like that is because you have it. They don't have it. So they look at, so again, even when we are looking at things that apply to us, we're looking at it through their lens, because there's a fungus in Chernobyl. Chernobyl in the 80s or something like that, there was this nuclear meltdown and it messed up the whole place. They got black fungus growing out there that absorbs gamma radiation, and it's a black mushroom, and it's just absorbing all of that. Melanin allows us to absorb everything in the light spectrum, gamma rays, which is from nuclear energy, UV rays, radio waves, microwaves, all light, all energy, melanin could absorb that, right? So here it is. Melanin is not something that protects you from the UV rays. They only say it like that because they don't have it. The point I'm making is so many nuances to everything we experience in this country that we see from their perspective, because we still haven't decolonized our minds to realize that this is who we are and this is how we need to see the world. So we're constantly judging ourselves by what they think about us. So when you come back to the comment that I'm not black, I'm OJ, or you're going to always be a nigga, that's you accepting the projection of people who are in competition with you. You see? So we running around with these colonized minds. So like when you talk about this new black man, like let me just get this straight real quick. The only thing black men is specifically, this ain't got nothing to do with black women. The only thing black men need to do is work together. But they can't do it because they've embodied the projection of people who hate us, and they've internalized that.
Absolutely.
So that we only see each other as competition and not everybody else who's actively trying to destroy us. Because the reality is, we don't empower one another. When you look in the venture capital world, we 13% of the population. We used to get less than one. We only used to get 1% of venture capital funds. Now it's down to 0.3%. You see what I'm saying? Of funds that are invested in our businesses. And so we like to count the success of individuals as a collective win for all of us. And that is ass backwards. Because no other group celebrates the individual success of someone from their group unless they can directly benefit from those successes. And whether it's Jayz, whether it's any other rapper, whether it's these athletes, we keep counting it as a win for us when it's a win for them. Because if it's a win for us, we would be seeing some of the benefits of those jobs, those opportunities that spawn from their success. And that's not the case. That's not what happens. You see what I'm saying? We have embodied this individualistic, capitalistic mindset to say, I'm going to get mine, I'm going to do what I got to do. You got to think about, like, we glorify drug dealers. Now, I grew up in the drug era, you know what I'm saying, the crack era. You know, I have friends and family that participated and stuff like that, right? But the reality is these dudes actively destroyed my family, your family, our community, because they said, I got to feed my family. So your family success came at the expense of my family success. And so I'm supposed to be cool with that. I'm supposed to glorify that. I'm supposed to embrace that. When we all know that this was a ploy from the government to destroy us. We didn't put a unified front against it. We didn't stand against. We had Nation of Islam. We had these little offshoot branches and groups that fought to try to sustain some type of system for us that wasn't a part of the destruction. And what did our community do? They didn't do anything. They sided with the individualistic, capitalistic mindset. You see what I'm saying? Because they killed the type of rap, like, listen to Black Steel from Public Enemy. You know what I'm saying? Back in the late 80s, early 90s. You know, I got a letter from the government the other day. They killed that type of rap. The self-destruction. They killed all of that. And then brought in gangster rap, crack rap. You see what I'm saying? And they did that to destroy the movement of what was happening back then. You see, because there was a lot of the rap was making the youth move in a way that was bringing back the energy that they just passed through with this with the Panthers and the civil rights movement and different things like that. You see, so they shifted us into this materialistic gangster rap, crack rap. Now listen, there's some of the best rap that was ever made. Don't get me wrong, some of the best lyrics came from this era. I'm not going to deny that.
Absolutely.
But as an adult, looking back in hindsight, we got to be realistic about these people that we glorify, because they have never been a benefit for our community. We keep talking about like, oh, you know, he's giving out game on you know, how to move in a room full of vultures, and I mean, you can say the same thing about.
He's not. He just said it. He didn't give you any game. He just told you how to, like, he just made the statement. But it's crazy, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like our people glorify this capitalistic billionaire, make money at all costs, you know, burn everything down along the way. We don't care. You know, it's completely non-conducive for the whole collective. I'm not saying we're supposed to be held captive by what the collective wants, because if we go by what our collective wants, they want some pretty toxic things. I'm not saying let's do that, but we have to be real firm as a community and as men. Before we even start including the women in it, the men have to set the standard for the community. And right now we haven't set a standard. We up here agreeing with people that demonize us. You know, you got all of these right-wing conservative talking guys who agree with white supremacists, and then you got the black liberals who agree with the LGBTs and the feminists against us. We getting attacked from all sides. Who's going to stand for the average black man with some morals and some principles? Who? Because another thing I'll say is we have to stop treating each other like crack, because that's what gives the space for us to then turn on each other. And so you got the coon class, you got the feminist class of men, and now you got the ultra materialistic, capitalistic, I'm gonna get mines at all costs. All the while, we still losing collectively. So yeah, we still niggas, we still this, because we have no collective power, and that's because the men haven't set a standard and collectively work together to empower each other. That means I can't be a billionaire if you can't be a billionaire. I can't be a millionaire if you can't be a millionaire. Let's get millions together. We have different tiers. We got gangsters, we got white collar, we got blue collar, we got all types, but we keep trying to force one type of black man as the standard. You know, so when I look at this whole Jay-Z interview, even though I didn't see the whole thing, I'm just looking at it. I'm like, what is this supposed to mean? Was this supposed to be a moment? Is this supposed to be special?
We're going to get into it. We're going to get into it, man. You cooking though. Definitely want your opinion on this conversation, man. Let's get into it. Fair use, GQ. Don't flag us.
It's been a long time since you sat down for one of these. Yeah, it's been a minute. What have you been up to? Wow. Everything, a lot. Most people go through their things, you know, very privately. You took it on tour, live, every night. It was so healing. I'm fucking Jay-Z, respectfully. Or like, oh, what? Oh, to what end?
Now, so far, Mansa, a lot of people are not symbol literate. How do you feel about the symbolism that he's showing right now? I seen there was an image of, you know, he had the mask over one eye. Is that just some type of conspiracy theory when these type of images and symbolism is shown over and over and over and over? Like every time I see this man publicly since he started to throw the diamond up, there's always been this one eye image. I see it with him. I see it with a lot of celebrities. Is there something more to that? Are we reading too much into it? Why is that imagery always associated with this man?
Well, I mean, anything in media,
yeah, that's true.
Is, especially when it's done at the highest levels, is done specifically to convey a message. Every image, like you got the Nipsey Hussle picture behind you, you're choosing to take your frame or your shot specifically from that angle to show that. You see, so that's just media, right? And so what then becomes is, what does the symbols represent? You know, so for me, it's layered, right? On one end, I'm Muslim, and then on the other end, I have strong cultural ties to my African heritage and indigenous cultures and stuff like that. And so that mask in particular is a mask from the Congo. And that mask represents, that specific mask represents one who stands behind the power of a woman. And you can see Beyonce and him at one of those brunches. He's standing behind Beyonce in the same type of fashion. You see what I'm saying?
I believe he got one eye too.
You know what I'm saying?
And that one
so,
too.
Right. And so, you know, I had a video with the Moors in court, and I was standing in court, and I had this hand, you know, because these are energy mudras, is what they call it, right? It helps centers energy. So I saw somebody pointing out that he was standing like this, and they think that like symbols matter, and it means a lot. You know what I mean? So what he's conveying with this symbolism is, number one, is, as far as that African mask, is that he stands behind the power of a woman or women. You know what I'm saying? Feminine energy, right? However you want to interpret that, but that's what that mask is. And then the whole tradition of African masks. African masks were used throughout all of Africa to do a couple of things. Symbolically, it's to enter into another dimension.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that they use it for that. And then also to wear the persona of different energy. You know what I mean? Whether you want to look at that as spirit possession, witchcraft, however you want to term that, that's literally what's going on. So people may be looking at it like, oh, he's in touch with his African heritage and roots and stuff like that. But this is what the symbolism is conveying specifically. You know what I mean? And the whole vibe of it, especially on the heels of this Epstein thing, give Bram Stoker's Dracula vibes to me.
Definitely
you know
giving Dracula, because my thing is, we just had a 50th anniversary of hip hop. I didn't hear nothing from Jay-Z. Nothing. So now you're about to bring out Reasonable Doubt and The Blueprint. You're about to do a concert at Yankee Stadium. You know, Nas was just there to celebrate the genre. Now you're here to celebrate yourself after you've been mentioned, because people don't act like he was mentioned in the Epstein files. It wasn't just a rumor. He's in the files. So I just think that this interview was very revealing, and it's a statement that I started hearing, and I'm about to play it. In the late 90s, early 2000s, I would hear this statement. I hated this statement. And it's coming to fruition. He said, when people say I'm not a rapper, I'm a hustler. This rap is my hustle. I never liked that statement. And now I'm starting to realize that a lot of guys, even from the hood, even from the communities, even from the block, they don't understand hip hop or truly respect it. It was a hustle for them. It's just like these men in the manosphere. They found the algorithm. They see what they got to say. They see what's trending. And a lot of guys, you know, they smooth, you know, we smooth talkers up north. So it don't take too much to know how to rap if you really focus on trying to learn how to rap. So they really don't respect the culture. They don't really care about the elements or none of that shit. It was just a hustle. And when I hear him talk in this interview, it's like he sounds like somebody who really don't respect or really care for hip hop like that. It just seemed like, you know, I made my money. Now we need to change it. Now, like it's like he's putting himself in some type of elder statesman's perspective, but he's dismissing a lot of foundational elements of hip hop. And it seems like somebody that really don't respect it. Like I said, where was you you would think that Jay-Z would do something for the 50th anniversary of hip hop, and for him to not say anything, but now you about to do a concert. Another reason too that he ain't got the billions like people think, and he got to go back to work. But that's another conversation. But go ahead for the video.
No. Yeah, I think that I always say this to you as well. Like, I never knocked the hustle, and that's one of his records too. So when our people are hustling, even if it's no benefit to us, to the collective, I can't knock it because America is capitalistic and ain't nobody coming to pay your bills for you. You know what I mean? So you gotta do what you gotta do, and if this is the way you earning your money, you know what I'm saying? I get it. I may not agree with it, but I get it. I understand it. But that's separate from those who hold something of real value, of the cultural value of hip hop and stuff like that. And you shouldn't blend the two. You see what I'm saying? I only have a problem when people are trying to blend the two. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to respect them for being smart and using his hustle to get his money and put his family in a better situation, because we all come from the same place, then that's separate, man. Do your thing. You know what I mean? Go get that. But to be a voice for the culture, no, we can't do that. We can't let that bleed over, because now, what struck me, the clip that I saw, what struck me crazy is
I'm getting
him
some
saying,
hold it down for me.
all right, yeah. What struck me crazy is when he started talking about how battle rap needs to be removed from hip hop. And it's like, whoa. You can't go changing the culture because you no longer want to be a part of that. Like, when he talk about people talking about families, like, this is the same guy that said he left condoms in Nas's baby mother's baby seat. You see what I'm saying? The car seat. You know what I mean? Talked about his baby mother, talked about his kids. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is the same guy that did that. You know what I mean? So I think if anybody who's an elder statesman in hip hop, it would be Nas. You know what I'm saying? He's actually he's like representing for the hip hop culture. You know what I mean? With the museum, the stuff he's doing in Mass Appeal. But and I'm not going to say that Jay-Z hasn't done anything for the culture. He's done monumental things for the culture, but it's been primarily to benefit himself first. You know what I'm saying? And again, that's capitalism in America. But what hip hop culture comes from, and I don't think people really understand this. Hip hop culture is the sum total of all of the cultural knowledge, heritage, and experience of Black people globally, manifested through those who went through the transatlantic slave trade in North America and went through a lineage of Jim Crow. Like, this is the sum total of everything. This is why you can blend. There will never be anything after hip hop. The reason why this is the last cultural evolution, and it's the only cultural form that can incorporate any other culture and any other sound and any other type of thing and make it its own. It is the perfected, and this is why it's a new dance every week. That, like, you got some cultures, they've been doing the same dance for thousands of years, hundreds of years. Every week there's a new hip hop dance. It is the sum total of all of that put into one. So this is not something light when we talk about hip hop. You know what I'm saying? This is the final manifestation of indigenous, Black, or African, however you want to put it, manifestation of culture. You know what I'm saying? When we talk about the DJing represented the drums. You know what I mean? Whoever used to be the drummers. The graffiti is the hieroglyphics. That's the script. You know what I'm saying? The dance is we all had dance, and I just broke that down. There's always a new code. There's always a new dance every week. And then the rapping is the poetry, the speaking into existence. These are the things. These are all of the elements that make a culture a culture. And this is the last iteration, the final iteration of it, because you can take country sounds, which was made by Black folks, and make that hip hop. You can take rock sounds and turn that and make that hip hop. You know what I mean? So that's not nothing light there. That's not something light to be played with. You know what I mean? Or toyed with. So I digress there.
Exactly. Not at all. So that's why I hate when people try to tell me what it is and try to downplay it. Like it's just rapping, or it's just it's just some shit to make some money. Like it's deeper than that. Like you said, it's the last sort of a pantheon of Black culture and Black music. That's why a lot of it was started from soul samples. You know what I mean? It was the continuation to today. And if you're really into hip hop, it should take you to yesterday.
Yep.
Real hip hop takes you back.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It takes you back. It's a paper trail back to older sounds, older artists. You should read the credit. You should know what song was sampled. And it's all connecting. It's all one continuum. You know what I'm saying? So when people just try to make it seem like it's just some business shit, hip hop has, this might be controversial, but I think hip hop has brought more races together than religion has.
No, absolutely.
It's literally, hip hop kind of been the leading force in attacking racism out of everything in the world, because everybody fuck with rap. And now we live in a world, because we seen it when it wasn't like that. We seen when they was protesting against rap and burning CDs and all that shit. Fast forward to now, rap is the culture of the world now. You can't bring anything to youth without the stamp of a hip hop sound, artist, aesthetic. It is the culture of the youth of the world, and it's perpetual.
Yeah, I just seen this trend on I believe it is TikTok, where it's the Russians. They doing the trap music, and they doing Memphis juking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they doing it in China too heavy.
Yeah, but I gotta say something about that Memphis juking stuff too.
I love
real
that.
quick.
I love it.
Yeah, but there's something deep with that though. But they're doing it in Russia, and the song translated is about how they live in the rural part of Russia, and they pretty much don't like city life. They make their own vodka. You know what I mean? Basically, like talking about their hood. You know what I'm saying? But what's interesting about Memphis juking is that's where Michael Jackson got his dance moves from. When you go look into it, but it's Memphis, right? You know what I'm saying? And Memphis, we know, goes back to ancient Kemet, specifically the Kushites, because when the 25th dynasty in Taharqa took back over Egypt, not Taharqa, it was Pianki, I believe, but one of his descendants in that was Taharqa. They had something called the Memphite theology, which was supposed to get back to this original form of understanding of, the cosmic relationships and all that type of stuff. But my point about that is, when you look at Memphis juking, it's the same moves they doing on the hieroglyphs. Michael Jackson used it and Remember the Time. It's the same like ancient Kemet type, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy, bro. It's something there.
This is the thing. And I just thought of this. We've been lied to about everything. We don't know what we was doing back then. What if we was doing the same things we doing now back then? Imagine our people pop locking and moving like that, and them people coming from the caves and seeing that shit, doing that shit adorned in gold, and because it's like nobody walks like this.
Nobody does
on the hieroglyphs in these positions. No one walks. They have some walk like an Egyptians. Egyptians don't walk around like no one walks like that. So what are they doing in these poses? Like, what are they doing? It's like,
it's
man.
Memphis juking, bro. I'm telling you, it's
Memphis juking is fire. I love that shit.
It is.
It's crazy, bro. It looks otherworldly. Like it doesn't even look normal. It looks like some alien shit.
If you look at the ancient walls of Kemet and how they was moving, how they got them in the hieroglyphs, it's identical to Memphis juking, and that's what Michael Jackson used in Remember the Time. Like overall, he took Memphis juking, but if you look at Remember the Times, the music video, he's doing. They saying, oh, he's doing like Egyptian that, but it's Memphis juking. It's the same thing. But this is my point about hip hop culture. Mm-hmm. It embodies all of that.
All of that.
It's not something to be played with, man.
Let's get to Count Dracula and see what he talking about. This guy here.
How would you rate your 2025? Like looking back on the last year?
It was hard, really hard. I was like heartbroken.
Really?
Yeah. I'm glad we got right to that, so we could just get that out the way.
Okay.
Like I was really heartbroken by like everything that occurred, with all like, we in a space now where it's just like, almost like consequence is not thought about enough. So everything is so instant. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like that whole Busby.
The civil lawsuit that was dropped, dismissed.
That shit took a lot out of me. I was angry. I haven't been that angry in a long time. Uncontrollable anger. Like if you don't put that on someone, like that's the thing that you better be super sure. It used to be like that. Like you have to be super sure before you put those kind of things on a person, especially a person like me. Like even when we were doing the worst things, we were doing bad, we had those kind of rules. There was a line, no women, no kids. You hear those sayings, but those are things that I took from the street. Morals, integrity, code. Those things I took because we lived and died by that. So it's strict for me. Like it meant a lot to me. I took that really hard. And I knew that we was gonna walk through that. We was gonna walk through that because, first of all, it's not true. And the truth is, at the end of the day, it still reigns supreme.
When you're feeling these feelings, how do you then bounce back and get back to being Jay-Z?
I don't know. This is the first thing I'm doing.
Yeah.
Actually, it was just like, all right, man, we played enough defense. 2026 is all offense.
How you feel about that statement? That now he's back on offense, and how you feel about the interviewer choice? I felt like that was interesting. It's like this guy don't even know Jay. Like I feel like he's letting a kid at this stage in his career. I just found it kind of awkward that he would get interviewed by somebody like that who probably just got introduced to him when with Watch the Throne album or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like how you feel about that statement? He's going on all offense.
Well, I mean, again, media is purposeful. So it makes sense that he would go to somebody young like that because he's trying to connect with the young generation. You see what I'm saying? My thing is, I think he's the editor. I'm not sure. I think he's like that kid is somebody important in GQ or something like that. But he maybe not be. He might be younger than we even realize. I mean, he might be older than he looks. But point is, though, is that he didn't go to Drink Champs. He didn't go to Joe Budden's podcast. He spoke on hip hop, but didn't go to hip hop platforms.
No hip hop. Thank you.
You see what I'm saying?
Hip hop is not benefiting from your interview right now.
GQ is who knows who owns GQ, right? But I'm just saying, if it's for the culture, I don't know if he's going to do those things later. You know what I mean? But I know business-wise and at his level, you're supposed to go to the top levels of, you know what I mean? But I don't. GQ is not culturally relevant to the audience he's talking to. If it's hip hop. If it's just talking to the world and stuff like that, then if they see it like that, then cool. But those are not hip hop. That's not a hip hop platform.
And I hate that we act like, and he acts like, bro, hip hop is how people know you, bro. It's because you're a rapper, bro. Like, yeah, you ventured off. But it's rap that brought Jay-Z to the world. So to act like you're just so above it and you ain't got to give back. It's like, that's what I like about the old school. The hip hop dollar was circulating hip hop a lot. You had the Source, then it would bounce around in other hip hop publications. They had hip hop stores, hip hop restaurants. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't see that no more. It's like, isn't he the guy that said, I'm raping the game for what they did to the Cold Crush? Was that just something you said or you living by that? Because if you going by that logic, you would want to bounce your talents to other hip hop publications. And the fact that he doesn't, to me, sets a bad precedent, and it gives this notion as if you can get to a point where you're above that, where we don't hip hop is not upper class content, it's low class. So now that I'm Jay-Z now and I'm rich, I don't really deal with the hip hop crowd. It's like, I don't like the vibe I'm getting from that notion. Is that make sense? Is that a stretch?
No, you're not necessarily tripping. But I mean, again, we that is something that is in our culture where, dudes, and this is not just pertaining to Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? This is just like that new type of black man you was talking about. They will use their people to get to a certain level, and then when they get to that level, it's like, oh, I'm above y'all. You know what I'm saying? Even though I used y'all to get here, it's the same thing white R&B, white rappers, white people who come in as guests in hip hop do. It's the same thing. They use the culture, use black folks to get popping, get hot, and then once they ascend above that, then it's like, yo, I don't do that no more. That's that nigger music, you know, that's that nigger stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I see it the same way. You know what I'm saying? Like it just go back to what we was talking about earlier, where there is that thread of us, those threads of people in our culture, in our community, who will utilize us to get a foot up. And then once they get up there, they're looking down on you. You know what I mean? And then the minute something goes wrong, because unlike Diddy, there's a lot of people that came behind Jay-Z and defended him. His fans, a lot of people's like, no, I don't believe this is something. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a Diddy thing, because the Diddy rumors, that stuff been running around since the 90s. Everybody know Diddy was like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember being in high school, junior high school, listening to Hot 97 or listening to Wendy Williams. She been talking about that since the 90s, that Diddy was the gay rapper and all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it was no surprise that all this happened with Diddy. But people came out and defended Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? They defended him because they like, yo, you know, and then like people have this thing where they like, we gonna protect him because what he represents to the culture or whatever, right? And I'm not necessarily knocking that, but the point is, it's not a two-way street. You know what I'm saying?
At
like,
this point, what does he really represent?
He represents to a mentality of those in our community. I'm going to succeed and hustle at all. I'm going to succeed by my tenacity of hustling at all costs. And I'm going to get this American dollar at all costs. You know, just it's the same thing with 50 Cent with the get rich or die trying. It's the black capitalist. And the black capitalist is like, our people don't know history like that, and we don't really look back. But the black capitalist is Booker T. Washington. You know what I'm saying? Like, this goes back to a lot of his ideology. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are not new perspectives in our community. You know, you had Booker T. Washington, you had W.B. Du Bois, then you had Marcus Garvey, then you had Noble Drew Ali, then you had Elijah Muhammad's philosophy. You know, these are all competing ideologies that existed at the same time. You see what I'm saying? And that all have like a lineage. Like, so when they talk about black excellence, right? Black excellence is black capitalism. You know what I mean? How can I succeed? And you had Richard Nixon, and you had politicians, white politicians, speak about this at the time. They said they had to get rid of the black revolutionary in favor of the black capitalist, because the black capitalists would give hope to the rest of the blacks that all of us could succeed, when all of us can't succeed. You just can't. Capitalism isn't built for everybody to succeed. It's built to have winners and losers, and it's built to have more losers in the black community than winners. So they'll always let some people make it to make you feel like we all can make it, and that making it is an individual decision. You know what I'm saying? When really it's not. You know what I'm saying? So he just represents what's considered the black capitalist. You see what I'm saying? Which is the black person who is like, yo, I'll do whatever to succeed. If I got to sell my people out, if like he told Jermaine Dupri not to take the NFL deal, and then he went and took the NFL deal himself.
And exactly, man. And it's like, I think people get it confused about black excellence. Like what you said, that's the title, but what's behind it is not that. What should black excellence mean? We know what they've coined it, but what should it? When I hear that word, I don't think of Jay-Z and Kanye Watch the Throne album. Like, that's not what I think of. What should black excellence stand for?
Well, what it should stand for is there has to be a balance of individual accountability and collective responsibility. You see, if we individually accountable and collectively responsible, then black excellence should mean that we have the majority of us. The majority of us should be succeeding as a collective, not as individuals. You see what I'm saying? Like, we should have individual success, not at the expense of collective success. And our collective success shouldn't infringe upon our individual success. Black excellence means that I can go to the places where most Black people live, and we have thriving communities with low crime, several successful businesses, and our dollar circulating 20, 30, 40 times before it leaves the community. That's what Black excellence should mean. You see what I'm saying? That it should also extend to global, a global success, meaning that we have import and export going back and forth from Ghana to Haiti to Jamaica to Brazil, all around the world. We own ports, so when I want to ship something out, I'm going to another Black person to ship that out. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's what Black excellence is. Not a billionaire here or a billionaire there, and with this money we get to buy more European luxury items, when those European luxury designs were already stolen from African. The patch, the Louis Vuitton monogram joint, the patch joint, the block joint, that come from certain tribes in Africa.
Absolutely.
We have so much,
all that shit.
right? The leather, that's not Italian leather. All of the world's leather is really coming out of Nigeria. Literally, look into it. We have so much creativity among us. Why aren't we making our own luxury items and wearing that like that's the best thing? You see what I'm saying?
And it's crazy because, like, the clothes I wear a lot of Billionaire Boys Club and ice cream. That's owned by a Black man. Pharrell owns that. So a lot of people don't realize, when I see people try to wear Black brands, they knock them. Like, oh, you went like I remember Marbury had some sneakers. They were trying to knock. He made some sneakers $20. People was trying to knock them. Shaq got his sneakers. I remember what's name had a dope clothing line for a little while. Now I don't know why he stopped it. Fabulous. I remember he had a Rich Young.
Yeah.
Fire. It's like whenever we try something like that, our people act like that's a knockoff. It's like, no, it's just a different brand of clothes. Like it's like I don't like with Pharrell working for Louis. It's like, bro, your clothes is fire. Why do you need to be the executive for Louis Vuitton when you have your own clothing line? Pharrell got ice cream, he got Billionaire, he got Human, what is it called?
Humane or something like that.
And he also got G-Star. People don't even know that's his shit. G-Star is Pharrell. So it's like with all those brands. Now I can respect if you do a collab with Louis. That would have been a dope ice cream Louis collab, or ice cream, or Billionaire Boys Club Louis collab. That's fire. But to just totally work for them, I don't think they realize how that kind of lowers the value of your own shit to a degree. Because it's like, we fucking with your shit and you don't even think it's good enough. You rather work for another designer? Like, I don't know, bro.
That's why they did it. That's why they did it, though. That's why they did it, to shift that energy towards them, because they are legacy brands and they know that Black people run the culture, right? And so we got to co-opt them. The whole thing is co-opt. When they can't beat you, they'll co-opt you. And they'll offer you the prestige of legacy. You know what I mean? Oh, we're Louis Vuitton. We've been here since the 1800s, 1700s. Like, so what? You see what I'm saying? But the other thing is, you can't just make something for our people and expect them to buy it. Your shit got to be hot. You know what I'm saying? Now, with the people to win. No. Pharrell always on point. I'm saying, but some of the stuff our people be making, like, I always wondered this though. How could Gucci take red, black, and green and make that soul and elevate that? But when we wear red, black, and green, it'd be like dusty. You know what I'm saying? Like with the RPG thing.
Yeah, you're a Hotep.
Yeah.
That's the Hotep color. That's the Pan-African flag.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But Gucci took red, black, and green, made billions off of that.
And some of Gucci's designs are super, super duper.
Yeah, mad basic.
Super
you
basic,
know what I'm saying?
man.
But yeah, that's what Black excellence is, man. We got enough creativity and enough of that stuff amongst us to whereas we don't ever have to go outside of, anything like that. But yeah.
Not at all, man. Let's get back to this interview.
At every rejection, I thought, Why do we have this guy in place? He doesn't know what's going on.
Like they're slacking. They're not seeing the vision. When you look back at that time, are there things that you're glad that you didn't know?
Yeah, of course. It's almost like you're in the room and you go through this room and you get to the end and you open the door and you're like, wow. And then you turn back and you turn the lights off and it was like pits and snakes. You know, your naive nature just naturally navigated you through the dark. And that's made up for the things that we didn't know. And it helps because you can learn something so much that you just tap out. I think that happens a lot in the music business. Like people get in the music business for the right reasons and they're very passionate about it, but then it becomes Monday.
It reminds me of an old Kanye quote or something he said about you when he said, with Jay, you always see the win. What do you think he meant by that?
I think that showed the entire picture from You Must Love Me to Regrets to, you know, Soon You Understand. But the wins are so big that I can see where that can dominate a person's memory. You forget the losses.
Yeah. Or the perception.
Yeah. Or that becomes the perception that it's only wins. And then I do say I will not lose. So I'm going to add to the perception as well.
I was going to say you also are really good at kind of like, you have a discipline of almost like shrugging off any kind of perception of a loss. Like, what's the next go 0 for 82? I'll look at you like it's gravy.
I'm sorry, bro. This guy that's interviewing, bro, he's like annoying the hell out of it. It's like, this guy, man, where do you find this guy? Man, this guy don't really know Jay-Z like that, man. Like, I can just tell by the questions. It's like the glasses. Man, they done froze my screen again. Hold on, let me reset. They always messing with us.
Yeah. I mean, again, we probably ought to look into who that. I think he has a prominent position at GQ.
This feels like an echo chain. This feels like a softball interview, man. Like, you know, some little guy who don't even know him like that. I don't know, man. This guy.
No, it definitely is, though. It definitely is. And but you got to think like Jay-Z doesn't have a social media page like that's his, like 50 Cent or all the other rappers. You know what I'm saying? And being from the 90s, mystique. That was the big thing for us. You know what I mean? Managing your mystique, you know, people not having all that access to you. But if he did have a page, that means 50 Cent will be able to tag him and say whatever he want to say. He would have all these people in the comments saying who just random people on the internet saying whatever they wanted to say.
Whatever they want. Yeah.
You know, I don't think he can handle that. So when you get into the whole interview thing, you can give the interviewer questions that you want to answer and questions you're not going to answer, right? So he's going to go with a platform like that because they respect the rules of that to a degree, and he's going to go with somebody who's going to ask the softer questions because there's a lot of. I don't know if he plans on handling those questions later on in some type of media run. Maybe he will go on Drink Champs and all that other stuff when he drop an album or whatever. I don't know. But the point is that it makes sense for him to go with a softball interview at this point, business-wise. And because he's rebuilding his PR image, his image. You know, this is all PR. You know what I mean? So in that world of media, yeah, of course you're going to pick a softball interview. You know what I mean? That's not going to push the line and ask those real tough questions. Hey, what do you think about Dame? What do you think about what Dame has been saying about you? You know what I mean? What do you think about what DeHaven has been saying about you? What do you think about this kid that was trying to sue you for paternity? What do you think about that? You don't want to have to deal with those questions. You see what I'm saying?
That's a fact. Nah, yeah, he definitely don't. And I just feel like the guy who's interviewing him, I don't know how much he's familiar with just Jay-Z's career. Like, and it's not even just about him. It's just about the modern, a lot of these guys that talk about hip hop, period. It just seems like there's a group of people who hasn't done their homework on the culture enough. And they think hip hop is Bape and Supreme shirts and some shit. It's like, nah, that doesn't, wearing those shirts and shit doesn't make you, that's not enough to know about the culture. It's just not enough homework being done. And these guys, they started learning about rap, you know, when Graduation came out or some shit. I don't know. It's just this weird little era we in. They don't know enough about the culture for me. But let's get back to the interview. He looked like he Googled, he got the hip hop app or some shit.
It's not happening to you, it's happening for you. When you don't skip over that.
Yeah.
It's not happening to you, it happens for your greatest good. There was 0.1 of the next.
All right, this one got interesting. He started talking.
Memory, you forget the losses.
Yeah. Or the perception.
Yeah, or that becomes the perception that it's only wins. And then I do say I will not lose. So I'm going to add to the perception as well.
I was going to say you also are really good at kind of like, you have a discipline of almost like shrugging off any kind of perception of a loss. Like, what's the next go 0 for 82? I'll look at you like it's gravy. Like, you know?
Yeah, because it's all wins. If I had 0.1 of the nets, I won.
Word.
It's like I had ownership in a basketball team in Brooklyn.
Is that something you continue to apply? Like,
yeah,
when God forbid something goes wrong, don't freak out. We can.
It's not even God forbid when something goes wrong. When something goes wrong, everything in life happens for your greatest good. Everything. I had to not get a deal in order to become who I am today. It didn't feel like the greatest blessing of all. It was the greatest blessing that I didn't get a deal, right? So again, everything in your life, it's not happening to you, it's happening for you.
When you
don't skip over that.
Yeah.
It's not happening to you, it's happening for you. So you just got to know the distinction. Everything is just how you relate to it. There's no good or bad. Shit happens. It's life.
When did you reach that acceptance of that concept then?
I read a lot of books.
Do you think that's true?
Look, you know, okay, because
Wilt vibes.
Yeah, I mean, if you let him finish reading, if you let him finish, he'll mention the books that he's read, right? You know, Celestine Prophecies. You know, just play that last part. Let's let him mention the books real quick.
Early Seed of the Soul, Celestine Prophecies, and you know, all these different books. And I was picking up all these gems and jewels on the way. But I was also 26 when I came in, and I lived a lot of life for those 26 years. Marcy to Trenton, New Jersey, to Cambridge, Maryland, to Newport News, Virginia. I met all sorts of people in all sorts of situations, and I came out without a scratch. Never been in jail.
3 shots never touched me.
3 shots never touched me. I've never been. I came out unscathed. It's very rare. And I was always curious after that. Once you reach that part, like I've had the living, and now I'm like, man, why did that happen? I'm always questioning, like, why did that happen? Why did it happen that way?
All right, so because you can, yeah. So, yeah. Why didn't it happen? You see what I'm saying? And again, like, when people start talking about those type of books, because I read all those type of books, and yeah, like you said, he even did bring up.
I think is you ain't never rap about that. I ain't never heard no bars about the seed of the soul and the Celestine Prophecy. Nas literally said that in rap. He said something, Celestine Prophecy, something. Nas, you just he would
a lot of rappers
books. Drop these titles. Drop the notion that, I read that Jay never, he said, switch up your flow is garbage. What you trying to kick knowledge? He said that shit, but you've been reading books. That's funny. But you know, I digress. Go ahead though.
No. I'm just pointing out the fact that so man, I read a lot. So so you got these books that teach you about the power of self, manifestation, you know, thinking a certain way, and it's truth, a lot of truth in them, but the totality of the doctrine is Luciferianism.
Yep.
And it's the books that teach about, like, most of the like self-help books, all of the Robert Greene books, like these books are very good books, knowledgeable books, but they're based on the doctrine of Luciferianism, and you wouldn't know that unless
you means to the average person, because when they there's a lot of ways that can be interpreted. What is Luciferian doctrine?
The Luciferian doctrine is nothing is above the self. The self is all that is, all that was, and all that ever will be, and it's a ego-based doctrine, right? And Lucifer, according to the mythos, was enamored with, and this is more along the lines of the not the Islamic, but in some ways the Islamic as well, but all of the stuff that you can attribute to who Lucifer is, because Lucifer means light. And maybe he had the songs, Lucifer, son of the morning, I'm going to chase you out of church. So Lucifer, the Luciferian doctrine comes from Lucifer, which is the light bringer, right? And you can be blinded by the light. This is like high level understanding of masonry and all these different type of things. But Lucifer, you can find him in the Greek mythology as, I want to say Hermes, but the point I'm making is knowledge, light, the self, self-worship, you know what I'm saying? You are God, stuff a lot, you know, those type of concepts all come from Luciferian understanding and doctrine. And if you've read Albert Pike's book, Morals and Dogma, he says that he wants to create that eventually they're pushing to make a war between the Christian, Jews, and Muslims, and they all wipe each other out so that Lucifer and the Luciferian doctrine then becomes the standard on earth, right? So the reason I'm bringing all of that up is because that's essentially what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? When it's like, I went through all of these different things and, the universe is happening for me and it's not happening to me. You know what I'm saying? All of these are Luciferian doctrines, points of Luciferian doctrine. You know what I mean? You could go back to Aleister Crowley. And I'm not saying that the concepts aren't rooted in truth. I'm just saying the doctrine that they come from is Luciferian. And you got to read a lot of books and read a lot of stuff to really get to the bottom of that. But I can point some books out, but the point is that it's from the Luciferian doctrine. You know what I'm saying? And Luciferian,
like, the left-hand path, basically.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like you can go into Aleister Crowley, do as thou wilt, that is the whole of the law. You know what I'm saying?
He had a shirt that said "Do as thou wilt" on. He was one of the first rappers I even seen with that type of those type of statements on his clothes.
Yeah, it's the occult. It's the occult. It's the occult. And occult just means hidden. Right. So there's hidden knowledge, there's hidden understanding. That this whole interview has those elements in it, those tropes in it, the smoke, the black, these type of chairs they're sitting on. And, it's all like I'm an occult master, you know what I'm saying? And I'm conveying these high level gems to you all, from, this special place of elevation that I've reached, you know what I mean? Type of thing.
Exactly. Well said. Let's get back to it.
I want to ask you just a little bit about a written testimony specifically, just because that was the most recent release. I think it came out like right before the pandemic started. So
yeah, like the day.
The day.
Yeah, my favorite verse is off that just jumbled track. I love that track. It's so noisy and just so unorthodox. Flux capacitor.
You know what's funny about that? So I don't know if you remember this. You and I were emailing about that because I wrote about that album, and I said this verse is crazy even if it's offbeat.
Yeah.
And you said that being offbeat was the point, champ. And I was like, well, what can I say to that?
Yeah. Sometimes you need to sit in the pocket. My pocket is always, it's like with a foot over the thing anyway. It's always hanging to the last moment. And it's like, because sometimes I try to fit a lot of words into like a small space. And that last word just like get in the door.
Sticking with a written testimony, you have a couple of verses on there that I really like because they kind of speak to what's going on with you in a broader sense in the culture, like on Universal Soldier, I think it is, when you said that you don't keep the same energy for the DuPonts and the Carnegies.
Yeah.
So I wanted you to talk a little bit about this idea of like you said earlier, like the things that you do for the culture, the ways that you put on, the ways that you try to protect and move forward, but kind of the pushback that you get sometimes about like people throw capitalists at you in a derogatory sense.
Yeah, I think in that verse specifically, the only thing I heard coming up was the American dream until we started being successful. And it was like, wait a minute, you're selling out because you're making money. That was the first thing that was put on musicians. People had this law for the struggling artists. That's a mind game. What we would call back in the day for technology. It's like, no, I'm not going for that. Like, no, I make art first. And then I make sure that I'm compensated for my art.
All right. I think he misinterpreted technology to those who don't know. That's not technology. Technology, do you agree with that? I don't agree with that. I think technology is talking about something more deeper than what he
I mean, he used it to his benefit.
He definitely used it to his benefit. For those who don't know, technology is mostly is when some systematic misinterpretation that's given to make us think less of ourselves or less about history or culture. It's like a cultural misinformation more so than what he just said. Like I don't. What's your definition of technology in the historic sense?
I mean that's what you said. I just gotta laugh. Like I gotta laugh. Like Jay's a magician,
bruh.
He's a straight up. He's slick. That's a slick guy.
Real slick, 'cause that is not technology. What he just did was technology.
But it was also But it was also like it's also to give those who thought he's out of touch to let those know, like I you know what I mean? Like I know the knowledge. I still got the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And I'm using the knowledge to get what I'm getting. You know what I'm saying? Crazy, like he's a slick guy, man. That's Jayz for you, man.
Crazy, man. That was
slick. But
that was slick. Go ahead. What you about to say?
No, I was just about to say, just real quick though, but again, when people talk about their own success, it's like the reason in the Black culture, the reason why it's a thing where it's like you start succeeding with money you sold out. It's because why did the white folks let you succeed and not the 1,000 other people before you succeed? So it always became because you ain't special. Because most of us is special.
And if
most
you listen to what he's saying, he's trying to frame it as if I was chosen amongst the many. It's not. It's about me from day one. I'm trying to show you. I dodged the bullets. I went through all these court cases, and I came out unscathed. Like I'm the God MC.
Right.
It's really weird.
I mean, I didn't take advantage. I didn't get here by taking advantage of people. I didn't take it. No.
That's a lie.
No one. That's not my reputation.
Do you think Jay-Z can say he got there but not take advantage of people? I found out recently he took songs from people I didn't even know he took songs from, bro.
See, the reason he can take that position is because you got to understand capitalism. You see what I'm saying? A real good show everybody should watch is Billions, right? It's a real good show, Billions. When you understand capitalism, all is fear and love and war. You know what I mean? So if you do something smart and somebody else is at a disadvantage for that, it's not considered taking advantage. It's a part of the game. So that's why he can say that. You know what I'm saying? And with a clear conscience. You see, because it's capitalism. And that's how you play the game of capitalism.
But that's the thing. That's why I'm lost, because I thought that our culture, and especially hip hop, was the answer to capitalism. And I thought the rules of hip hop should override that. Now, we can have capitalistic endeavors, but overriding, you would think that we had our own code within the game, but I guess not.
That's not what I do. I didn't get here by taking advantage of people or taking advantage of, the loopholes in the system or some wrinkle in a capitalist structure. That structure exists, and I just see the world for what it is, not for what I want it to be. I'm a realist, not ideal. It's not idealistic. People speak about the world how they want to see it. You're never going to win like that.
You said something just now, though, about you pushing independence, right? Kind of like in the spirit of Prince. When you embody that, do you feel like you are kind of setting a mold or leading a charge for like what the successful black man is allowed to do and like breaking these spaces, breaking these confines?
Yeah. I even want you to take that out of your vocabulary.
Take what?
Allowed. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not allowed to do anything. In order for someone to allow you, they have to have authority over you.
Mm-hmm.
No one has authority over us. We exist like everyone else here. No one can allow us to do anything. But that word comes from a real space. And I want to eliminate all those type of words for us.
Yeah.
Yes. So the answer to that is yes.
When you're on a mission to eliminate words like allow, like you said, do you feel like that makes you a target sometimes from?
Oh yeah, for sure.
He's contradicting himself, Mansa. Like, I agree with what he say to a degree, but you said no matter what, we still niggas. That mentality contradicts what you just said, brother. Because you just said there's no parameters, no limitations on us. But when you say that no matter what, you still a nigga, that's a limitation. Am I misinterpreting that?
No, that's a limitation. Again, too, like that's just if you don't control industry, right? And if you don't have control of industry as a collective, as a community, black people's success in this country, no matter how, like, you can do everything right and still lose. Black people's success in this country, the reason why more of us aren't successful is not because we didn't try. I'm talking about collective, not individual. Like, individual accountability is different. You can't say that and realize that slavery existed, Jim Crow existed, sabotage, all of the things we tried to do to advance in this country wasn't sidestepped in some type of way, and then keep that same notion. Because his career did flourish. I mean, it flourished because it was allowed to flourish. Even when it came to that case that he had with the situation or whatever, you had some good lawyers, and that judge ultimately allowed you to get probation. He could have said, no, we want you to do, and whoever was pulling the strings, there is a side behind everything where there are levers of power controlling what happens. That's just dishonest to say that black people aren't allowed to. Nobody has authority over us, right? I would argue and say that we can make it so there isn't. If we work together, we can remove those levels of power that's behind the scenes trying to control us and do stuff like that, but not as individuals. Not that you can just, because I believe in myself and you got to be delusional to a degree about the belief in yourself and how you can succeed. I'm not saying that's wrong, but don't make the mistake of thinking that there isn't something behind the scenes that is allowing you. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when it comes to banking, Kanye showed you that. Why does Kanye have the problems that he has? It's because of he pushed somebody off. They're not allowing things. And that's the whole thing he's been saying. You know what I mean? He had 800 million or something like that in JP Morgan. They froze his account. They didn't let him get to his money. Somebody, you see what I'm saying? So it sounds good, but like you said, that limitation he spoke on 444 about you still being a nigga is a little bit contradictory to this current statement. But again, he's a magician, so he's touching certain points to activate the Hovites. You know what I'm saying? To say, see,
like I think cats like Hov and other people that will remain nameless, they depend strongly on the ignorant populace. Like, I don't know if you noticed this. We talked about this off camera, but based on what type of rappers or certain people support, it just say a lot about them. And I would meet a lot of cats who are so, because I like Jay-Z and Nas. Of course, I like Nas more, but I like both. When I hear people say Jay is just all of that, and then it's Nas, it's like, I only fuck with Nas like that. To me, it's deeper than just rap styles. I think Nas represents somebody who can be from the hood, but don't necessarily have to get shot or stabbed or go to jail to really have insight on this environment. And they feel like Hov literally did hustle, so his words are more credible. But as he just said himself, he wasn't even touched. He walked through it all without a scratch. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I just feel like this man, we give him credit for maturing later. And we diminish Nas for maturing early. Nas had a song called Second Childhood. He was talking about it on Stillmatic. Nas said, I know I can be what I want to be. But it's like, Nas was always on some elder statesman type concepts. Now Jay, and he done got all the money he can get, pushing 60. Now all of a sudden you found the conscious. I just don't respect that shit. You know what I'm saying? I respect rappers who at the height of their career is giving you that perspective. When they got everything to lose, and when they haven't locked in all the deals and all that, when they can still lose their deal or still get boycotted, they choose to tell you what time it is, like Nas did, like a Common would do, or Pac would do. All this late in the game, you done told niggas they could shoot if they want to shoot, kill if they want to kill, look if they want to look. It's all right. You know, now you know what I'm saying? Now it's I don't want us to battle. Right? It's just so contradictory. And like I said, it ain't even about the Jay-Z's or the Antons or whoever the fuck. It's about the crowd and how the selective outrage, and they just show you how full of shit a lot of people are, and how it's not about the message. It's about who's saying it, when is it popular to say it, as opposed to does it have value? Because when it has, as soon as it said it has the value, but it ain't. Nas said it, but who cares? But Jay says it in 2026. It's like, oh shit, it's just mind blowing. I'm just sick of that shit, bro.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's what you're experiencing with that is just the fan bases that, it's the same thing even in like these YouTube spaces and other content creation spaces where certain things get said, certain things get done, and then you got to argue with the fan base of that person. You know what I'm saying? Like, the fan bases of those people represent an ideology because the person that they are a fan of embodies and articulates the philosophy or perspective that they have. You see what I'm saying? So that's a lot of times what you're dealing with when you're dealing with people who kind of see things that way. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, man.
Sure, for sure, 100%. What's the Nipsey thing? Pray for me, y'all. One day I'm gonna have to pay for these thoughts. Real niggas is extinct. It ain't safe for me, my dog. These are real fucking lyrics.
You've come back to that a lot in the last few years. Like the more I reveal me, the more they will kill me. Stuff like that. When you say they, like who is that?
Whatever the threat to, however the system is set up to keep things at status quo and keep us in a position of using words like allow. So anyone that's culpable in
creating the system that we operate under, that's they.
Yeah.
That's they.
So that's you. If that's the definition of they, you are they now. Am I missing something?
Yeah, Jay-Z is, he got away with words. He got away with words.
It actually goes beyond color.
Yeah.
Because I've encountered that a lot. I've encountered that a lot where it was just like, okay, this successful black man, make it, let me go with him.
Yeah.
And for help. And they're like, you don't fuck with no rap shit.
Oh, wow.
Not like out like that, but you know,
that's the energy.
Like the energy. It's like you see the energy.
Yeah.
You know?
I was thinking about how you described last year as being angry and for the first time in a while. Yeah. I wondered what it felt like to be pulled back into that feeling and how you pulled yourself out or how you leaned on the people around you.
Yeah.
I've been saying to put.
Yeah, I needed the people around me more than ever. Mm-hmm. Because usually when I have that feeling, I would just make music and just be therapeutic. I'd be able to, I'd blow it out.
Yeah.
And I would be like, you know, I'll move on. I had to sit in that for a long time. And luckily I had that. And right, again, I built this this circle that's really safe for me, of people that really love me, not using me, and like, you know, really care for my best interests. So I was able to have that in the time, you know, the most crucial time for me.
Yeah.
Especially people that were close to me. And I'll explain. So like, you know, when those type of things happen, people run. They don't care what happened. They don't care. It's like, save yourself.
Yeah.
You know, so I have partners. You know, I've had big deals with, I called my guy from LVMH, hey man, this is coming. And I can't get rid of it. I can't take a settlement.
Yeah.
It ain't in my DNA. First I had to tell my wife, let's just back up.
Yeah.
Like, it ain't even in me. I know what this is the weight that this is gonna bring on our family. Mm-hmm. I can't do it. The makeup, I would die. It would have been cheaper, yes. Cheaper, quicker, move on with your life. It was like a testament because people know me. Like, I know who you are, and that's impossible. And not only we standing by you, but what do you need?
Yeah. What did you kind of do to come back from that personally or emotionally, I guess?
I'm still working with that. That's a great question. I'm still dealing with that.
Sound like somebody got hit with a limitation, if I'm not mistaken.
That definitely was.
That sound like somebody ran into a door that said stop. When they could just pull up something and just put your career on halt. You lost. I think he lost a couple deals, not a lot, but he lost something. And
he said he lost. I think he lost $20 million from that lawsuit being filed. But again, that he started to talk about the system. You see what I'm saying? See, this is what I'm saying. Like, when he was trying to do Tidal, they was trying to block him from doing that. Then he came out and brought all of these artists, these old artists back out, did a concert like, yo, this for the people. Like, he experiences the same level of blockages all black men do, all black people do. It don't matter. He experiences those same things. But the only difference is he'll use the culture to get past it and then not care about the culture after that. You see what I'm saying? But Diddy, he did that one joint with the Earn Your Leisure guys when he was on there. And he was like, listen, even 50 Cent came on there and said that Diddy was experiencing that because 50 Cent has gone through that. All of these, if you're a black man out there, you're getting big money like that, you know you still dealing with the racism and the same stuff that the black man that ain't got as much money as you is dealing with. The whole point is you only care, most of them only capitalists, so we can have a collective struggle, but they only care about if they're winning or not. You see what I'm saying? And that's the problem with the black capitalists. The black capitalists experience the same level of racism. Diddy was saying at the highest levels, he's still dealing with racism. And you see that now. Nobody went to jail for Epstein. He in jail for stuff that when you got to the case, he didn't do half of the stuff they said he did. All we found out is Diddy. We knew since the 90s that Diddy was gay. And he wasn't even trafficking women. He was trafficking, he was paying for men to come in. He's a cuckold and he's gay. That's what we found out at the end of the day. You see what I'm saying? So, but he went to jail. R. Kelly went to jail. Nobody from the Epstein class went to jail because they said it would collapse the country. It would collapse the system.
Collapse the country. But I can't get off this topic because so many black men been shaking a damn finger at black people these last few years when the constructors of this society is doing what they've been doing and no one has anything to say, as if these things are not correlated. Attitude reflects leadership, literally and figuratively. So if these people are at the highest forms of media, economics, banking, politics, education, are doing these things, you don't think it's going to have some effect on the common man and woman, even on a spiritual sense. Like some things you don't necessarily have to. You ever know? Like sometimes you can be affected by something your family or parents do, and you're not even privy to them doing it. It's the energy from it. You know what I'm saying? You may not have never seen grandpa mess around, but his affinity for certain things, you might have it, and you never even met. That's sometimes they meet their parents, they be like, "Yo, I'm just like my dad. Never seen him, never met him, never had any of his issues, never seen him do it." But you still end up in the same position or affected by the same things that he's been affected by, whether you privy to it or not. So if this is what they're doing, and they're making the records, they're controlling the imagery of society, there has to be an effect to that.
Yeah,
but,
what you just said was epigenetics, though, too. You know what I'm saying? Like when you have certain affinities for some from family members that you probably never even met.
It's definitely
epigenetics.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it's a specific thing. It's called epigenetics because in epigenetics you inherit the memories, the experience, the emotions of previous generations. Literally, it's in the gene expression. So I just want to add that to it, though.
Absolutely. And I know you can't stay long. I want to really get into this conversation about reparations before you go. And a lot of people have been talking about, we have this FBA conversation that I feel like is very divisive. And a lot of African content creators that I see online are actually speaking truth to power. They're not really saying things that I find divisive. It seems like they have a grip on things, and I've seen a lot of pushback by saying they're taking our plight. They're trying to get reparations for our bloodshed and our issues. But if I'm not mistaken, they're victims of this transatlantic slave trade too. So real quick, can you explain how they have a case as well when it comes to this, and how our cases are connected, if so?
Yeah, let me layer what I'm gonna say though, real quick, right? Because I noticed there's a dynamic. Like, if you're from up north, Jersey, New York, Philly, Northeast, there's certain parts of the country who don't like brothers from the Northeast, right? And so that's because brothers, it's for a lot of different things, but we can't say for sure that brothers from the Northeast, we're self-absorbed in the way where when you're in the Northeast, life is like, it's so many people, so many cultures, and the geography is so, sizable that
so much exposure.
Yeah, you're so exposed that you can fall into the feeling that this is all that exists. Nothing else matters. You know what I'm saying? And so I'll say that's the same thing with the FBA dynamic to a degree, right? On one end, okay, people can take true things and exploit true things. You see what I'm saying? There has been immigrants who've come to America and shitted on black folks, black Americans. That has been true. That has been true. Does that make it universally true? No. There has been black immigrants who come here who black Americans have shitted on, right? What does that tell us? That tells us that niggas got the same problem everywhere. We are the same. We act the same. We do the same stuff. We'll pop stuff about each other as soon as you pop stuff about us. It's you said this about me, my feelings hurt. This is how we ended up conquered globally. When you see the diaspora wars, like scientists say that you can't, if you want to prove that something happened, you got to prove it's still happening. And what we see is the things that caused us to be a conquered people globally, we see why that happened through the diaspora wars today. You see what I'm saying? The tribalism, the pointing the fingers, the treating each other a certain kind of way, because Africans have problems with each other on their own continent. South Africans don't like Nigerians. They don't want Nigerians there. They be telling the people that from other countries in Africa to go back to their countries, you know what I mean, in South Africa. But they don't got no problem with the Boers or the white people who are in South Africa. I'm only prefacing this by showing that we have the same problem globally
Mm-hmm.
as far as being anti-us. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of what tribe we have and stuff like that. So when it comes to the reparation claim, Black Americans, based on what happened with the United States, is not the only claim, right? You have Afro-Latinos and the Caribbean people who got claims. And you got Africa that have claims, even though they are descendants of those who were selling people, right? But during that time, there was no collective African identity in that same way. You see what I'm saying? So
when you say that, because you gotta be clear, because when people hear that, they'll think that the whole continent did that. Was it a broad selling of slaves, or was it in pockets? Because they try to push it as if the whole African continent sold damn near half of the continent to America, when this really wasn't like that.
Well, I mean, it was going on. See, perspective is everything.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Perspective is everything. The bottom line is that there were first of all, nobody named the continents. That didn't happen until imperialism, colonialism, right? That's the first time people named whole continents. That's number one. Number two, there were wars in Africa the same way there were wars in Europe, in the same way there were wars in Asia, in the same way there were wars in America. The world has never been in a state where there's been global peace. There's been wars. The product of wars is when you get prisoners of wars, you sell it, you either kill them, you integrate them into your society, or you sell them, right? That's called human trafficking. When it's done under a governmental structure of legal situation, as called the criminal justice system. You see, because in the United States, slavery and involuntary servitude is prohibited unless convicted of a crime. So you still have slavery here. It's just you got to be convicted of a crime to be enslaved. You see? So it's the same thing that was happening on the African continent. You know what I mean? And the point is this. It happened everywhere, but it's different stuff is relevant for different things. When it comes to our situation here, specifically in America, the narrative is that we were enslaved West Africans, and we were trafficked to the Americas, and we was forced to work for free, perpetually. That's the narrative. I'm not talking about we indigenous, we not African. These are all arguments that doesn't matter when it comes to reparations, because what has to, in terms of us here in America, what has to happen to meet the requisite. If you notice, Ghana just.
Before you say that, because I want you to respond to this, because I think you're about to. He said the FBA argument has to be established to procure reparations for the American form of slavery.
Could you put that comment back up? Hold on, let me see that.
The FBA argument has to be established to procure reparations for the American form of slavery.
Okay, so when he says this, right? He okay. All right, let me.
Yeah, cook.
Yeah, let me go there real quick. Okay, what is the FBA argument? What is it actually for reparations? Other than saying you owe us reparations for slavery and Jim Crow. What is it? You see? So a lot of times our people, we got lawyers and stuff like that, but our people are not loyal to the group, so we don't really study these things. You see what I'm saying? I know you got certain Black lawyers out there trying to study certain things, but unless you deal with the Morris paradigm, you don't have a solution and you don't have an answer for reparations. Because here's the thing. When Ghana brought that claim to the UN, what was the United States argument? They said slavery was legal at the time. So if slavery was legal at the time, and it's not just that the United States take this position in the UN, this is the same position they took. This is the same position they took in the Supreme Court when people was bringing reparation claims and it got litigated all the way up to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court said, you have to go to Congress to get, that's a legislative issue. That's not an issue that you can bring in the court because slavery was legal at the time. So here's the problem. If we're from West Africa, don't tell me you indigenous. I know black people indigenous. That ain't got nothing to do with the claim. Okay.
Key word, y'all. We're talking about the claim for reparations because it's already been proven that we have a lot of races in us. We have Native, we have Cherokee, we got a lot.
Yeah,
mixed up. But the claim is for reparations, so that has to be specific. But go ahead.
For the slave trade, because the Indians, they're getting reparations. They got reservations and casinos. They be getting monthly checks and stuff like that. So if you want to claim indigenous, you need to go find a tribe to go join to get those reparation packages. Stop trying to convince everybody that this is the way to get it, because this is definitely not the way to get it. Because the claim is for reparations against the transatlantic slave trade for those who are descendants of Africans enslaved in America, right? So the United States they say it's legal, and they say you're from West Africa, right? So let's deal with this. If we're from West Africa, we're in West Africa. What was happening at the time, right? So this is the reality of it. Unless you deal with the Moorish paradigm, you don't have a claim for reparations, because it was illegal for the parties that formed America, who are descendants of the British, who are partially descendants of the Spaniards and the French, to enslave Moors, because there were treaties. And there was a treaty between the Sultan of Morocco and the King of England, where he recognized the Sultan of Morocco as the ruler all of West Africa. And the United Nations has already recognized that the Sultan of Morocco, his suzerainty, meaning that his sovereignty or his recognition as an authority, extended to wherever he was recognized as Sultan at in West Africa. And the Moroccans had conquered West Africa, Timbuktu, Songhai Empire, when they fought Askia Muhammad, right? So they married in and they mixed in. Now, you would have the problem with Morocco is that Morocco has been taken over by Europeans, so they're not as black as they used to be. You see what I'm saying? And so the problem is this. You can't prove that slavery was illegal. You can only prove that enslaving Moors was illegal, which is why they was lying on the insurance claims and on the cargo manifest. They would say we got Negroes, because Negro in Spanish is a product. You see what I'm saying? That's an item. They didn't say we got 300 Moors on this ship, because that was illegal, because they had treaties where they weren't supposed to enslave the Moors. So you can only claim that slavery was illegal when it came to enslaving the Moors. When they was having an argument to free the slaves, they said, you are now freemen, but freemen isn't a status in law. We can't give these rights. We can't give them rights that they didn't have in medieval England. The only people who had rights in medieval England who were black were Moors. So this is why, and then when they get mad at the Ghanaians is they don't want to accept that they came as a nation. Part of the problem with Black America is that we've never claimed a nationality. We keep not dealing with this nationality issue. We keep holding on to the acronyms and saying we this and we that, but we don't claim independence and nationhood. Every group that got reparations had a nation to claim it for, and they talk about the Japanese. They had Japan make that claim for them. The same thing with the Italians. They had Italy make those claims for them. You see? So the reality is, and then there were African nations in the past, like I know a Nigerian president, they were going to make reparation claims on behalf of us, but you need a nation to make reparation claims, because reparations is paid to nations. They're not paid to second class citizen groups. You see? So our failure to deal with the nationality issue is why reparations ain't going to come in that form. And then also, until you can prove, because the United States is going to keep that position, that unless you can prove slavery was illegal at the time, they're not legally liable. They're not legally liable.
I want to respond to this comment. This brother said, I'm starting to believe as African Americans, we need to only pursue reparations First of all, you already lost with the African Americans. We need to only pursue reparations based off of the offenses done to us here. Stop including those other situations and blurring the lines.
Okay, that's the thing. They keep calling it reparations. Reparations is made to nations. That you can't. If you want a restitution as citizens of the United States, as a group, a class, then you can go for that. But that's not reparation. You see what I'm saying? Reparations is paid to nations. You got to deal with the nationality issue. Even if you're going to say we're going to form a whole new nation or something like that, that's a better move than to try to continuously say, I'm African American, I'm due reparations for slavery and Jim Crow. You see what I'm saying? You can get restitution, you can get like a settlement or something like that, but reparations is nations to nations. You understand what I'm saying? And then anybody that's trying to lie to you and tell you otherwise is just misleading you.
I looked up the word reparations. It said the making of amends for a wrong one has done by paying money to or otherwise helping those who have been wronged. The example they use is the courts required a convicted offender to make financial reparations to his victim. Second definition, the compensation for war damage paid by a defeated state. For example, the Treaty of Versailles imposed heavy reparations and restrictions on Germany. So obviously you have to come from some type of establishment to even be involved in the conversation. They said war damage paid by a defeated state. So to that brother who made that state, what state were we defeated in when we became slaves? That's the question that you're not answering with this FBA conversation.
That's the Moorish Empire.
Something that's established already. Blackness, what is it?
But that's what I'm saying. It was the Moorish Empire. That was the last collective. That was the last collective global state that we had before we got enslaved collectively like this. You know what I'm saying? And that includes the Christians, the Muslims, the Jews, and the pagans. You know what I'm saying? Or the animists. You know what I mean? Under that banner. But the point I'm making is when you relegate it to saying, yo, it's just about what we went through here in Africa. I mean, here in America with slavery and Jim Crow. Reparations, like you said, like the other example it gave was in a court case, right? A court case where there's an established
treaties,
right? But again, like a court case where there's an established crime, a crime that was established, and the person lost the case, and they have to pay reparations to the victim, right? You're not going to get it that way if you're not dealing with the Moorish paradigm, because the United States does not recognize that slavery was illegal at the time they was enslaving you. So if you're going to have to let slavery go and just say, go off of Jim Crow. But was Jim Crow illegal? No, Jim Crow wasn't illegal because they baked it into the laws. Jim Crow was legal. They baked it into the laws. You see how that goes? You see what I'm saying? There's no condition that the Black or African American status provides for the people. The FBA status don't apply it either, doesn't supply it either, to address when they created laws to justify what they were doing to us. You have to deal with the Moorish paradigm to get outside of the status that they put us in to justify what they was doing to us legally, to then make what they was doing to us illegal because they weren't supposed to do that to Moors. You see what I'm saying?
And the problem is, and I'm gonna play this person's comment, and I have a question for you. He said, if we were to go specifically about what you're saying, our beef would be with those who sold us out. You're not listening. If you're indigenous, then that would cause another racial divide and lead to a whole other group of people. So I want to ask you this, Monster, because a lot of stuff people say, you could just tell that they're not learned enough on the topic to even have input. So for people to even grasp this concept that you're talking about, what information should they go and check prior to this conversation to even be able to engage in it? Because you could tell by certain terminology certain people say, and certain scenarios that they describe, there's a missing link to this all. Because I feel like the Moorish conversation connects all of the dots. These other conversations are specs here, specs there, and and people have emotional attachments to the information instead of a knowledgeable base of chronological order. This happened to us. What happened to you? Who were you when it happened to you? What jurisdiction were you? All of that little stuff that we try to just brush over and just say, oh, the white man did it. No. Something this sophisticated, it has to be more than just they did it, give me some money. This was a sophisticated worldwide conglomerate that attacked you specifically at a specific time. So what information, whether it be a book, whether it be laws, that people need to become aware of to even engage in this rhetoric?
Man, I mean, it's a lot, man. I mean, check out the Negro Law of South Carolina, where it says where it said Negroes should be confined to enslaved Africans, ancient Berbers and their descendants, not including free Moors, Lascars, Egyptians, etc. So check out pre-colonial laws. Check out colonial laws. You know what I mean? Read the Dred Scott decision. Read Justice Taney's decision when they was passing the 13th Amendment. Read what the 14th Amendment. Read the laws behind this stuff. You know what I mean? To get a good understanding. Read the treaties. Go through all of the treaties. I put a book out years ago called Moorish Treaties, where it goes into 400 years of treaties between Moors and European nations. You know what I mean? You got to understand, how this thing transpired. You know what I mean? Read the Crusades. Read the books on pertaining to the Crusades. Understand that it goes back to the Crusades as well. You know what I mean? Like this is the result of 1,000, literally like 2,000 years of wars, basically. This is the result of it. Because when it was passed the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, they were talking about why it needed to be passed to nullify the application of the Christian doctrine of discovery and bring towards an end to the beef between the Muslims and the Christians, right? When you look at and they even got today with Pete Hegseth and I did so much. Even the last show I did with the brother Sharif, where we was going over how Steve Bannon and them see the conflict today between the Moors in Spain and the European Christians in Spain is what's happening and playing out today. All of this stuff goes back to the Crusades and a little bit even before that, when it goes to Hannibal and the Carthage against the Romans. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta dig in. You gotta really dig into history if you want to see the full scope. There's a lot of moving pieces. You know what I'm saying? But to zero it in, you gotta look at the treaties, right? Between the colonists, the tribes in Africa and the tribes in America. You got to look at that type of stuff, and you have to look at the laws pertaining to slavery and the congressional discussions and the Supreme Court discussions around them, because that will let you see how they're framing these things, and then you'll get an understanding that they had to strip us of an identity that pre-existed to put us in a certain status that we're in today, because the status we were in didn't allow them to make laws and regulate us the way they are able to now with the status we have now. So you got to understand status, jurisdiction, and venue. You know what I'm saying? These three things: status, jurisdiction, and venue.
Mm-hmm.
These allow you to understand how the courts, the legal system is operating. I'll say this last thing too. If any group is serious about reparations here, you need your super PAC and you need a political party. There's no way around it. You have to, if you're not going to take the legal route, then you're going to need the political route. And the political route requires you have a super PAC so you can bribe politicians, because it's legal bribery. That's what lobbying is. It's legal bribery, basically. And you need a political party so you can elect your own politicians to these local positions. You know what I'm saying? In Congress and stuff. And you're going to, so those are the two main things you're going to need. Mm-hmm. Unless you're doing that, you're not serious.
You're not serious. And if you haven't read any literature, you need, I'm trying to, I was about to go off. I'm trying to stay calm.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of ignorant comments in
I know.
Just do your homework. And I think there's a European in the chat. A guy said, how come Moorish science we're not taught? See, that's what I'm saying. The Moorish Science Temple is a religious organization. We never brought that up. See,
What'd he say? What'd he say?
He said, how come Moorish science, which we never discussed, hasn't gotten as far as FBA lineage argument? What has FBA done? What is it? What money has been? If no one has reparations, what are you talking about? I know people who live like, so Monster, tell them how you move, because you're not just somebody who says I'm a Moor. You're recognized by this government as a Moor, correct?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that got all type of little process and procedure, but you just got to follow. You just got to petition the courts the right way to do this, to do that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Just so you could get your government documents, changed to reflect your identity. Because in America, self-identity is how you get identified properly. You know what I mean? If you don't identify yourself the way you want to be identified, they'll identify you for yourself. But,
which they do.
Yeah, which they do. Look at Federal Directive 15. All of you, Google it right now. Federal Directive 15, and tell me why all of the other groups have tied to them original anyone having origins in the original peoples of Asia, of North Africa, and the Middle East, of Europe, of
we gonna bring it up
America.
right now.
You see what I'm saying? But when it comes to black, it says the black racial groups of Africa. Get to the bottom of that. Now, when you talk about the FBA lineage argument, what has the FBA lineage? I'm not against delineation but delineation and talking about a lineage is nationality. You can't divorce the two. You cannot divorce the two of what nationality means and what that means for lineage. You know, you're deluding yourself. So I'm not saying, in fact, part of Black America not delineating and forming their own nation is part of the problem.
Yes.
Either reclaiming an old nation that you're a part of or forming a new one. That's part of the problem. But you can't divorce lineage from nationality. I know some of the people that lead y'all in telling y'all this stuff make you think you can, but you're not going to get outside of the nationality discussion just by talking about lineage. And this is not the first time reparations has been a thing. You know what I mean? Like, y'all not old enough and learned enough to know that this has been talked about since slavery ended. Reparations is not a new discussion. You understand what I'm saying? So when you're saying that the FBA lineage argument is popular, I don't care about what's popular. Exactly. I care about what's politically strong and what's legally strong. And right now, politically, see, don't mistake white people recognizing you as FBA and using this as a part, because I noticed they get a little hype when they see Tucker Carlson or white conservatives start to embrace the whole concept of, oh, these are foundational Black Americans and they differ from. Don't mistake popularity for progress.
And the things that they embrace is the things that ultimately is probably no power in anyway. It's 100%. A reason why they're embracing FBA, but you never see them talk about nothing Moorish. But when you study history, when you actually prior to modern history, when you read about people of color that you would like to call Negro, they were referred to, regardless of location, as moral all the time.
That's it.
It's not somebody this is not a subculture or some type of belief, and it's not necessarily designated to a location. It was the descriptive term of us use in general society, how we use Black as a general term to describe somebody. If you can't put your finger on where they're from exactly, like you can see somebody that's Haitian or Jamaican, you won't know they're that from looking at them. So you have to come up with a general term. So the term we use now is Black, but back then it was more. So to change us and to change our rights, they had to dehumanize us by denationalizing us, by saying you're not from anywhere, you're just some mutt. So that way they can create new laws to discriminate against you. So all these people in the chat saying what you got to say, you have to have some information to back what you're saying.
Yeah, let me say this too. It's not that was the general term, but that's also the term that's in treaties. That's also in the terms of pre-colonial America, where they talk about we can't enslave these people that's identified as Moors, free Moors, we can't enslave them. You understand what I'm saying? Which means that it was more than just a general term. The term had legal and political implications, which Black never did. which African American doesn't, which FBA doesn't. These don't have legal and political implications. You understand what I'm saying? So I know the chat, the general
He
black
said Moore has no establishment to this land. FBA does. That don't even make sense.
When was the term FBA founded? To my
like
knowledge,
a year ago, a couple years
right,
ago.
Right. So you can't go through any legal. You're not going to find anything legally. I just told him to go to Federal Directive 15. If you don't do that, I don't know what else to tell you. The whole point is, though, don't mistake popular terms for things that have legal and political implications. FBA is popular, just like African American was. Just like when James Brown came out, I'm black and I'm proud. Just like colored used to be. All of these are placeholder terms.
Afro-American was a popular term.
Afro-American. These are terms that don't have any legal or political implications, which means there's no rights that stand behind them. When they say Mortal has no right, no ties to this land, what are you talking about? It's not even about land rights. You know what I'm saying? Like this is about a slave status and a free status. And then you have people say we do have a status, it's freedmen. There's no more laws on the books for the Freedmen's. The whole Freedmen Bureau was shut down. That died with the whole Freedmen status died with the Freedmen's Bureau. You see what I'm saying? And that was a generational term for those who were fresh out of slavery. You see what I'm saying? So the reality is they watch their favorite YouTubers and they come up with these concepts. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this is in Black's Law Dictionary. This is one of the definitions. I can go through so many different definitions that say Moor means black man. You know what I'm saying? It's plenty of them out there. You know what I mean? Do your research. You can do quick Google searches and then go to actual Google books.
He just told on himself. Look. Thank you for saying that. A Moor could put on a turban and go about during Jim Crow unmolested. If they took the turban off, they considered niggas too. You just answered your own question.
You just answered your own question.
Boom.
That's the whole point. See, the reason why putting on a turban meant something was because it was like, oh, okay, culturally, these ain't
They
Negroes.
have a connection to the East.
Right.
They have a connection to the ancient world. See, that's
or to some
problem.
nation, or to some nation or culture.
And that's
they're not the niggas we made. They're not the Negroes we made.
Exactly. And that's what people got to realize. Everybody on the planet, what they're called today, they was called 2,000 years ago. The Asian was the Asian 1,000 years ago. The European was the European 1,000 years ago. But was you the black man 1,000 years ago as the term used in society, not amongst yourself? Was that the term you was called in society legally when it comes to getting things done on an economic, political level? No, it was not.
But hold on, Ella. Here's another thing, because you can't let ignorance shift the goalposts. See, this is what the Negroes do. See, we used to call y'all NBCs, Negroes, Blacks, and Coloreds. You see, because you have a nigga mentality. You're trying to shift the dynamic to make us prove that more is supposed to be used because of your feelings towards it. When in reality, I just laid out the whole point to you. The U.S. said slavery was legal. You ain't got enough guns, you ain't got enough money, and you ain't got enough collective power to do jack shit about it. So until you address the status of what made it legal versus what made it illegal, you got jack shit to say. Deal with that. You're not going to make me prove anything. The proof for reparations has to be based on, as far as the legal argument. Now, you can go politically and petition for it as whatever you want, but you're going to need a super PAC, and you're going to need a political party to push it through, because the Democrats ain't going to do it for you, and the Republicans ain't going to do it for you. And if you ain't got no lobbying entity, you ain't going to be able to convince no politicians to do anything for you.
Exactly. Another weak argument. Not all Moors were what you consider black. Duh, because it's not a description. Just like it's black people now that don't look like me, but they still consider black. But they
but in those definitions, bro, like I said, like for instance, the Britannica says that the American Negro is a new biological cultural product consisting of all the tribes of Africa, including Moors and Arabs. And it also talk about indigenous and being mixed with white, but it included Moors and Arabs in it. And the races, the dictionary of races of people that the United States put out in the early 1900s, it has Moor listed in there and it has Negro listed under there too. If you go to some of the earlier Webster dictionaries, the unabridged versions, they say Moor means black man, black person, blackie. End of story, man. I'm not defending the position. Y'all want reparations, you're going to have to prove that it was illegal to enslave you. And the only people during that time who were black that it was illegal to enslave was Moors, because the Moorish Empire had treaties with the European nations. You can call that selling now, you can call it whatever you want, but you got to get around that legal argument. Stop trying to make this about proving we Moors or we not. This is about proving the reparation claim. And the only people who look like you who can prove that it was illegal to enslave them was the Moorish status. Not FBA, not this, not that. That's just the facts. I'm glad the U.S. said this has been the Supreme Court argument, and they took the Supreme Court argument and brought it to the international world and said because slavery was illegal, we don't accept this claim. So until you can prove that it was illegal to enslave you, you got no claim. You're never getting it. The only people who got the answer to that is the Moors who understand that perspective on things. Until you pick up that part of your identity, embrace it for that purpose, you're not getting it. The only other way to get it is politically.
But even the FBAs lean on Moorish lineage in their definition of FBA.
Yeah, of course, because without it, they don't have a claim. Without it, they can't establish it, because the first, you got to go back to Estevan Nico de Moor. You got to go back to the trips of the Malian Empire when they was coming to the Americas. Anytime you dig into pre-colonial America or pre-colonial times, you're going to run smack dab into the Moors. Ain't no way around that. When they got here, they said they saw Moors. You understand? Before the word Indian was used, Moor was used. And Indian mean dark, just like Moor mean dark. So it's a matter of preference when they use that term.
Bring y'all scholarship, man. We ain't just wake up
Any
and
day of
start
the week.
thinking this
Any
shit.
day of the week. Let me tell you this. Any day of the week, any of these goofies try to come against the stuff that I'm laying down right now, let me know. I'm pulling up. I got my facts. I have my sources. I have everything. Matter of fact, y'all just need to, I don't want to do no shameless plug, but Morris History TV on YouTube. We already putting out all the facts and the data and the history about this stuff, man. It's time that you start dealing with the Moorish paradigm and embracing it for what it is and stop tap dancing around it. Because if that reparation claim got to be serious, there's only one group of people who could claim that slavery was illegal to enslave them, and that's the Moors. The rest of you can't. And with that, I digress.
And with that, man, we out of here. Y'all see what time it is, man. Y'all got to get y'all scholarship ready. This ain't something we just woke up and started doing because it's popular. Obviously, it's not popular, right? So if we're into it, it must be the truth, because the truth is not always popular or pleasant or palatable. It just is what it is. So instead of arguing with people, you need to do your homework on what the word means, because y'all still stuck on the most simplest part of it, which is just the word more. You think it mean Arab, you think it mean a Muslim, you think it mean a turban. It just means yo ass. That's it. It don't mean nothing crazy. How we could see 7 different people from 7 places and be like, oh, they all black. Right. Take that word and use more instead as a general term to describe and to define us. It was used generally, but there's legal attachments to its legitimacy. There is no ancient legitimacy to being called black in society, period. Bring your facts, fuck your feelings, bring your information. Ain't nobody bring up no scholarship, ain't nobody claim nothing. Like I could go get to the book right now in The Destruction of Black Civilization, where Chancellor Williams said it. Matter of fact, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, please do that. Please do that. Chancellor Williams is one of the esteemed scholars that laid out a lot of stuff for us in the 70s. You know what I'm saying? I read that book as a young shorty coming up in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? And he says that we must contend to be identified as Moors. He says that in that book, hands down. End of the story. So, you know, my whole thing is like, look, man, y'all can feel how y'all want to feel. The facts is the facts. You know, you need to research more. And again, stop going on for what you like and what your popular YouTubers are, because the type of work that I put in on this was specifically for the reparations claim. Like, when you study with a purpose, not because you want to feel good, not because you like this group over the next, or this ancestry over the other, or this spiritually resonates with you. When you're looking for liberation, truth, and freedom, and your researches, and that's the intent behind your research, and that's guiding your research, then you're researching with a purpose. Okay? So I already been, you know, arguing for years with the courts on these type of issues. You know what I mean? The thing they fight the most is to be recognized as a Moor. They don't want us to access that identity, because now it's to the point where the white people and the pale North Africans, if y'all go to Moors History TV on Facebook and you see the comments from white people and the comments from the pale North Africans who I mean, with vehement hate, come against all the references and the sources that says that black people are Moors, then you'll understand why they don't want you to access that identity. Then you'll understand the power behind embracing it. Because number one, part of the reason you want to embrace that, because those are the only group of black folks that ever had Europeans enslaved. You got no claim to greatness over them other than through the Moors. Those are the only black folks that actually had them enslaved for longer than they had us enslaved. We had them enslaved for 800 years. They had us for 400.
We got the data. So y'all can argue about your feelings, but you ain't got no scholarship. So this is from the book. Y'all seen this book before. See the reason why I only need 2 books to deal with a lot of stuff y'all saying, because y'all ain't really saying nothing. I ain't really got to go deep in my bag. The 2 books I like to use is this one and Iceman Inheritance, because y'all responses are so infantile that I can really discard most of your logic with just these 2 books. So this is The Destruction of Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams. This is page 207. I got it highlighted because I knew this day would come when somebody would say some goofy shit, so I keep this part. It said, now again, just who were the Moors? The answer is very easy. The original Moors, like the original Egyptians, were black Africans. As amalgamation became more and more widespread, only the Berbers, Arabs, and colors in the Moroccan territories were called Moors, while the darkest and black-skinned Africans were called blackamoors. Eventually, black was dropped from the blackamoor. In North Africa and Morocco in particular, all Muslim Arabs, mixed breeds, and Berbers are readily regarded as Moors. The African blacks, having even had this name taken from them, must contend for recognition as Moors. This is the literature. So you could talk and yell and shout and FBA till you blue in the fucking face, but the literature says that we should contend, which means to fight to be recognized as that. Why would
And I want to add to that real quick. You know, some of our elders only understood certain elements of the scholarship. We got a sister named Dana Marniche who goes in. You can go to her Facebook page. She got tons of references, but the original Arabs was black, period. They were black skin, blacker than us. You understand? The original Berbers. If you go to the Negro law of South Carolina, it says Negro shall be confined, meaning they were defining what a Negro is and confining it. They were creating a status. Negro shall be confined to slave Africans. In parentheses, it says ancient Berbers and their descendants. So even when you talk about Berbers and Arabs, you talking about black folks, man. Come on, let's be real about this, man. I mean,
and I like this point by this brother. This is just a simple logic. Thank you. If we can use Moors to get reparation under the law, why not use it since nothing else has worked? Thank you. Don't depend on no man to do anything for you anyway. Do it for yourself first. Absolutely.
There you go. That's reason and logic right there.
That's just logic. It's like,
what the hell have we got to lose?
What do we have to lose? Because our ancestors was going, and when you deal with all the treaties and all the interaction, it was never, the Europeans wasn't attacking blacks. It was Europeans dealing with words like Europe, more, even words like Saracen. Negro and colored has no ancient or scientific or historical claim to nothing.
And that only came in.
HBCUs.
That only came into play after they started conquering us. They started using those terms. After they started conquering us, then they'd be like, "Oh, you're a Negro."
Look,
you know what
they
I mean?
start telling themselves. See, when you got the truth, you're right. Most of the black cattle came from Western Africa. You're right. Who was the West Africans at that time? The Moors. Dummy.
I just told you about the treaty
What are
that
you
says
talking about?
there's a treaty that says between the British King and the Sultan of Morocco that says he's the ruler of all west of Africa. I'll bring the receipts the next time we do.
Who was the first country to recognize the United States of America?
Morocco. The Sultan. I won't even say Morocco because Morocco didn't get founded until the 1956. It was the Sultan of the Morocco, and that was the remaining entity of the empire. See, we had an empire. That's the other thing. We don't know geography and political breakdowns. Like, let's say the United States disintegrates, right? Because it took the United States it took the several states of the Union to come together and make it a union, which is an empire. Right? Because each state is sovereign into itself in the United States. So it took them to come together to form the federal government. That's an empire. So let's say it falls, it collapses. And then Texas, the Lone Star State, don't need another state. That's its own state. And then California, another state. And then New York is other state. But there's no union, there's no empire. See, our empire disintegrated, it broke apart. We were part of an empire. This is what our people don't understand. We got lazy brain syndrome. We don't like to go too deep into the details of stuff. You see what I'm saying?
We really believe what these people tell us about ourselves. That's the truth. We can't even fathom us being anything but gangbangers and drug dealers. We can't even see it. So when you really start talking to people, the colonizer within themselves starts to come out. You police your own brain. You put a limitation on your own mind, and you can't fathom seeing yourself in any other state. But when you watch these films, and you even look at the movie 300, who came to let him know that, yo, we about to take this shit over? It was a Moor that rode on a horse.
Exactly.
Came up to him and said, the League of 1,000 Nations is upon you.
Yep.
Like, you have to study history. This ain't nothing emotional. This ain't nothing. You got to think, why would they make the answer so readily available to you? You have to do a little deep. Dig a little deep. And the funny thing is, as you start to dig, you'll realize it was always in front of you the whole time. That's the funny thing about it. You just ain't looking. You don't know what you're looking at.
That's a fact.
Yeah, man. So yeah, good build. We definitely
for sure.
Shout out to everybody that pulled up. Get your scholarship up. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, none of y'all read from no books. Nobody had any quotes from any scholarship. Just I feel, I heard, I think, but what do you know? And to know, you have to go beyond yourself. If I was so caught up in my own beliefs, I wouldn't have books. If Monster was so caught up in his own belief, he wouldn't have scholarship of books. He wouldn't have written books. There has to come some type of humility that comes from that. It's not this is not a know-it-all energy. This is I don't know. And I went to know, and now I'm sharing what I know with people who don't know. They think, feel, and I heard, and what's the name said. That ain't knowledge. We got to get past that time period of just talking about what makes you feel good. Where is your information? Cite your sources. If you can't do that, you're going to get exposed on Philosophical Radio. And with that being said, shout out to everybody that pulled up to the chat. Shout out to everybody that super chatted. Thank you for your support. I will be back soon, and just stay tuned. We're going to keep it pushing. Peace and love. We out of here.
I'm 10 toes. Hey, yo, the game got me mortified. So I focus on being fortified. Twisted shit encrypted and codified. Products of a simulation. First generation sufferers of overstimulation. My stipulation got me looking for some ventilation. I changed the station, ignoring Satan's invitation. No visitation for my brothers off solicitations. Incarcerations, it's called the Matrix. If life's a bitch, then she's a dominatrix. So death got to be your masculine presence. Opening his arms while you bask in his essence. Sometimes when I talk to God, I call my passive aggressive. Will I open heaven's doors or just burn from my lessons? Blessings. You know the game been told. If I was you, then my soul would have been sold. Watch what you do, cause it's coming back tenfold. Either way it goes, man, I'm 10 toes, 10 toes, 10.